Want to take it for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607 or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com.
Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com.
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. Come visit us today at 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
At the Jerry Bullitt Training Center, we truly believe experience is the best teacher. With over 50 combined years of knowledge and experience in sports performance and athletic training, our coaches understand exactly what it takes to achieve your goals. Contact Melvin Bullitt at 214-326-7853 or visit their brand new facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett.
Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
All right, everybody, welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. We're doing this part do, rah. Hey, guys, we have a bad storm running through the DFW. And what it did, as I was switching over to get to the Ethernet, and it wasn't even when I did. It was just bad timing where, of course, that happened when we were going to go ahead and do the show. So we kicked it up. I brought it up to the top of the hour, and we're going to go ahead and talk about the games that are happening in the NFL. It is at that time of the year. We saw the games last week where Sonny went 0 for. You know, that's actually a last name of a football player, if I'm not mistaken. So I was 0 for 4 for the last weekend. So, you know, when you listen to my picks and how I'm going to pick them, you just might want to maybe rethink the idea of saying, yeah, I'm with Sonny on that one. You might want to just rethink it. But we're still going to do it, man. We all have bad weeks. This past one just happened to be one of those weeks. that having been said, I'm going to go ahead and bring on the guy that was on with me last week. A good guy that keeps up with the games. It's Todd Mintz. How you doing, Todd?
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Sonny, again for letting me be on this week. We missed Corbo. He'll be back next week. But
Yep.
you led us to something, Sonny, that I want to say, and I know you're a humble man, but I want to say this to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny Clark is due for a bad week. I only had one right myself last week. And Sonny we do a thing called NFL Pick Watch where we compare our picks to the media, the national media. 95 people. Sonny has been in the top 5 all year. And despite last week's difficulties, Sonny is still in a 5-way tie for third. He's only 3 games behind Active Score, who leads. So, Sonny, I think you're due for a bad week. It happens to all of us.
Absolutely.
I recovered. This is your chance for redemption this week.
Yeah, redemption week right here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. That being said, our special edition here on the Couch Potato Sports Show for this week is happening on a Friday. It just all depends on what happens if we'll be on Sunday. That's not a promised show since we are doing this one to get you all caught up. And, I was talking just a little bit on the last quote unquote show before we were so rudely interrupted with the internet. Just hopping really quick and talking about the Patriots. Patriots lose at Gillette, which number one, that's a big deal. But they had also lost to Gillette to Baltimore and another team I just can't remember. So they lose those 2 games, but and then lose on the road though to Miami. So it's just like my picks. It's bound to happen to where the New England Patriots are not going to be that team that everybody expects them to be, that perfection that they always seem to be. And most of the country had the New England Patriots winning that game on Sunday as they were taking on the Tennessee Titans 20-13. Some interesting calls in that game, an interesting game as well. But New England cannot wait to the final minute in every single game to get up there to try to get a victory. It went to that again, and that just didn't end up happening with obviously a couple of mishaps there by Tom Brady. But for those that think Tom Brady, Todd, is washed up, needs to go away, they're just completely living in a I hate Tom Brady zone.
Honestly, Sonny, probably even a dumber comment of that is some of the idiotic comments I saw this week by people even on my page that said, "Oh, we ought to go to the Dallas Cowboys next year." Why?
Yeah,
I swear to you, I saw that, and of course we've seen Miami also. So
yes.
Really, so honestly, come on. So Tom Brady is the kind of guy that's used to winning, okay? He's been in 9 Super Bowls. He's won 5.
Yeah.
He's really going to go at age 43 next year to the Miami Dolphins for a team in a massive rebuilding situation. Right.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, some of this crap I read is just absolutely comical. And Sonny, honestly, yeah, maybe Tom Brady wasn't as great this year, but there were factors. There were a lot of factors as to why. They never recovered losing Gronkowski, Sonny.
Absolutely.
He was a critical downfield passing game. The big target, he didn't have a crap running game at all. New England had suffered all year running the ball. Defensively, the last several weeks, they were not the same team. And this was brewing for a long time. To blame it all on Tom Brady
it's nuts.
Because Tom Brady didn't tell the defense to give up 182 yards to Derrick Henry, Sonny. And here's the thing about it, okay? The last 3 minutes of that football game, when you separate literally the men from the boys, Tennessee had the ball, okay? Neither team scored in the second half, okay? And if you recall, Ryan Tannehill, who had done nothing, and I mean nothing in this game, he had thrown for 72 yards coming into the final possession. I recall this, okay? He completed a critical 13-yard pass for first down, then 12 yards, and then Derrick Henry had a big 13-yard run. That basically wiped out the clock, and by the time New England got the ball back, there was like 20 seconds left, and they were on their 1. Well, where was New England's defense to stop him. They had ample opportunities to get the stop, Sonny,
Absolutely.
and get the football back and even give them a chance in good field position where all they needed is a field goal. And the defense couldn't get off the field. So to blame Tom Brady for this is absolutely pathetic.
Yep.
He's not the reason New England lost 20-13.
Absolutely.
No
Absolutely not. And you got to think about the situation as well. You know, Derrick Henry going off on the defense, that is a deal. That's not Tom Brady. Now, to a point it is, though. As far as your offense, you got to keep your offense out on the football field and give the defense a little time to get that oxygen in their lungs. And that's not going to happen when you're only scoring 13 points a game. So that a little bit you can kind of put on him. But Derrick Henry was just out of his mind in that game. And if you remember, if you do go back and do listen to that show, I said the only way they're going to win that game is if Derrick Henry goes off, and that's exactly what ended up happening. And it ended up being really good for them as they moved into the playoff game. And you know, when you also, if you took a look at it, as far as where Derrick Henry was, as far as the, his rushing and everything else, you look at, a career year of 1,540 yards, in the regular season. So the guy was going to keep it up. He's having that career year. The only way that they were going to end up winning that game was to be able to stop Derrick Henry, and that didn't end up happening. Now, granted, it woulda, coulda, shoulda. If they did stop him, would they have been able to win the game? That still would have been in question, but it is what it is. But as far as everything else, the games that were there, I was looking at who finished where and what did won. Houston gets the win at home. 22-19 over Buffalo. Barely got out of that one. I still looked at that game, and I still see the Houston Texans as pretenders in that one. Minnesota shocking the world in New Orleans, getting a 6-point victory over the Saints in overtime was a big game. And Seattle beating Philly. That wasn't necessarily upset, but Seattle was on the road. But that was a game also where we seen those last two games, Minnesota and Seattle, where you've seen an offense putting it on the shoulder of the quarterback. And if you would have told me that Kirk Cousins was going to get it done, I would have said you're crazy. But it is what it is. But those last two games were magnificent as well.
Yeah, they were, Sonny. I mean, the Seattle-Philadelphia game was a game of attrition. I mean, honestly, obviously when Carson Wentz went out with a concussion in the first quarter, that obviously you knew was going to kill their chances. And I mean, I give credit to Josh McCown for competing. I mean, he hadn't played all year.
Absolutely.
He's 40 years old. He's been in the league 17 years. He battled, Sonny, he tried. And, the Eagles still had chances in the game. I mean, they had one last chance down 8. They got down to the 10, I believe, a 4th and 7.
Yep.
They came up empty. The Eagles just struggled all game, Sonny. They had no downfield passing game. They had really nothing that much in the ground game at all, and Ertz was held down. And so basically, that's not going to happen. And then when you have a quarterback like Russell Wilson, all he has to do is make a couple plays, and TJ Metcalf made the biggest play. He made that huge 50-yard running catch for the touchdown that gave them the breathing room of 8-point lead in the third quarter. And at that point, you knew it was going to be a challenge for Philadelphia to get back in the game. Actually, I think they made it 17-6, I believe. But that was the biggest play of the game. And Seattle really didn't have to do that much offensively. But the Eagles were just so demoralized with injuries, Sonny. I mean, 7 starters were out since the beginning of the year offensively. Then when Carson went out in the first quarter with the head injury, you knew it was going to be an uphill battle for that football team. And that leads me to a point, Sonny, and I posted this yesterday on my page. I saw that they fired their coordinator.
Yeah.
Their offensive coordinator yesterday.
A pathetic move. A pathetic move. When you take a look at this, you look at the GM, okay? They let Nick Foles go. I mean, you want to talk about, you go back and see when Nick Foles did it. If they had the quarterback with obviously the golden arm to take over with Carson Wentz making his first start in the playoffs and goes ahead and gets the concussion. By the way, he took himself out of that game as well. And that seems to be a thing that people are looking at. And if you remember correctly, I don't know if you remember, it was a couple of years back where Alex Smith did the same thing. He had to take himself out of a football game in order for, them to have any chance of winning. There was yet another one. I just can't. Oh, well, it was the Bears. It was Jay Cutler taking himself out of the game, after he got hurt. But that, we kind of bashed him pretty well. But we go back to that. You got Alex Smith, Jay Cutler, and now Carson Wentz. But there's something, it was really interesting. I was reading this and how everybody's giving him the glory and, what a fantastic move to take him out of the football games, and it's about his brain. And I'm getting this and I'm buying it too, by the way, Todd, but you have to remember who these guys are that did end up going down. If you look at it, you look at Alex Smith, you look at Jay Cutler, and you look at Carson Wentz. These guys have one thing in common. Those are huge contracts, money guaranteed all over the place. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there's some quarterbacks out there that don't have that huge money, don't have that guaranteed contract, don't have that in there. So, yeah, is it a big deal for them to go out? Yeah. They're going to have jobs, okay? Next year, Carson Wentz is going to start for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's no question about that. But guys that are on the bubble, guys that are on the cusp are probably not going to end up taking themselves out of that football game and try to win a football game with them being in the condition that they are in. So, it's 6-1, half a dozen of the other. They're praising the guy for doing it. I guess I'll give him the credit, but there are some guys that are not in that position. And if you don't think for 2 seconds that their money is not on their mind out on that football field when they're dealing with an injury, you're crazy, because it might be the first thing that's on their mind.
Of course, Sonny. And the thing about it is, you can't compare it to soccer, but I'm not trying to. I watch games every week, Sonny, and I don't even know how these players are medically cleared to even get back on the field. I've seen players take some of the worst shots to the head and they stay in the game. And, it's a health risk. And the thing is, there is such a thing as loyalty in this business. And the thing is that you also forgot to mention, but I caught it, is all three of these quarterbacks that you mentioned have a history of underachieving. And you kind of wonder how much is in their heart. How badly do they want it? Now, in Alex Smith's case, I believe he's had more than one concussion.
Absolutely.
I remember that. But Jay Cutler, I remember that. And I remember the controversy. I believe it was the Packers game, if I remember correctly, in the playoffs.
I think you are remembering
in
correctly.
Soldier Field. I remember this. And I remember the heat he got from the media in Chicago and even his own teammates, why he went out of that football game. Okay. And, but all of these people have been, accused over the years of being soft, underachieving, these kind of things. I'm not accusing, but, Carson Wentz, personally, I don't know how brave of that decision that was, Sonny, because in the NFL, you're going to deal with injuries and you have to damn live with it. Because look who was behind him. Did he not know that? Josh McCown, are you serious?
Yeah.
Do you really think that he is going to come in there and win that football game against Seattle? And you can't ask him to.
Yeah.
That's not even fair to him.
It's not fair to him at all. And in really realizing when that was over, Doug Peterson should have known immediately that situation was done and it was over for where they were going to be. Josh McCown is exactly what he is as a backup quarterback. But like you said, he hadn't been in the game all year long, and you're throwing him to the Wolves. And in that situation, you look at that whole thing. It was a helmet-to-helmet hit from Javier Clowney. Everybody's talking about it being a bad hit, a dirty hit, and all these things that are part of it. But at the time and the speed of the game and everything else, I hate seeing those dirty hits. They are unfortunately part of the game. But at the same time, as bad as I'm going to say, when I say this, it sounds bad. That's exactly what needed to happen for them in order to get that victory, because they got a tough one when they played this week, and I'm talking about Seattle. Going up, and they got to go up there, and they've got to figure out how to beat Green Bay in Green Bay by putting everything on the shoulders of their quarterback, Russell Wilson, which, by the way, I think is a badass anyway. But you're asking a lot of them from last week for this situation, because they had to put it on his shoulders again. They're going to have to do the same thing in Green Bay.
No question about it, Sonny. As I said, this was a game when we get to it. I was tearing my hair that I've left out all week on it. I mean, I've gone back and forth on this game all week. It is so hard to call. Yeah. Luckily, the good news for the game, though, Sunday, this is good news. Even though it's going to be cold, it's going to be in the mid-20s. It's not much wind and no snow and dry. At least that's a positive. They were worried they were going to have snow this Sunday, but the latest forecast tonight, I looked at it, will be cold. It'll be 25 degrees, but it's no snow, and and that's important right there. Yeah. But you got to remember, Sonny, too, that I was reading all week about Russell Wilson record in cold weather and Aaron Rodgers' record in cold weather. Like Aaron's 5-1 with the temperatures under 30. Russell's 1-5. But come on, these guys are professionals. They're trained to play in this weather. Russell Wilson played college football at Wisconsin and Madison.
Yeah, he knows cold.
Not cold there.
Yeah, he knows cold. And I think that's a bad stat in reality when you look at a lot of those things out there. So we have some people that have something to say. Jay Quitler was one of them that was out there, and McCown, a 50-year-old quarterback. Now I don't know if he's 50, but he's up there in age as well. So thanks for joining, folks. Go ahead, put the comments in. We'll try to. I got to produce. I got to direct, and I got to host the show. So I try to keep track of all of it. If I see them up there, I'll get them up there. Thanks for the comments. We'll put them up there. So that being said, lots of stuff going on in the NFL as far as news is concerned. Obviously, we've had a coach get hired, and an interesting hire as far as the New York Giants are concerned. Good, bad, or indifferent. I guess you can just kind of, I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, because when I take a look, there's only one that's really doing any kind of good in reality that has been in Bill Belichick's, ear, and that's Vrabel. Vrabel having a very good success right now with the Tennessee Titans, but man, the rest of them, man, I don't know if you're the New York Giants. Now, granted, you got to understand what this division of football is. It's the NFC least. Oh my God, it is a horrible division of football where 9-7 and 10-6 gets you the division championship. Not just make the wild card, but get you the damn championship. And it damn near went to 8-8 this year. So you get a guy, you get a chance to work him in New York in that division. You bring the wide receiver coach from the New England Patriots over there. Good, bad, or indifferent. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say this guy's not going to be a good head coach. All I know, okay, when I look at it, Joe Judge was a quarterback coach. Okay, so I'm not seeing the fantastic thing that everybody's talking about bringing him in. Now, there's been a lot talking about him in reality, but everybody thinks that Bill Belichick develops gold, and it's just not necessarily true. Vrabel is the exception. Not only that, taking one of his plays out of his playbooks and uses it against him with the play clock, which it was a wonderful thing to see. I guess if you kind of like to see a little revenge, kind of like to see those kind of things, it's kind of cool. But what do you think of the hire? I mean, Joe Judge, I don't know.
Sonny, I don't really know enough about him to make a comment, but I thought he was a wide receiver coach and did special teams. I know this, Sonny. The New York Giants have had a history of hiring. My God, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
This is not the first time. I mean, I could go back to the guy they had 3 or 4 years ago, and his name escapes me. I know Spagnuolo was the coach there. Also, I could go back to Ray Hanley and Perkins.
Yes.
I mean, we've hired some absolute retreads that have absolutely done absolutely nothing with that team. And you're absolutely right about the Patriots, because I ought to know from experience. My Denver Broncos, Josh McDaniels.
Yes.
He was awful coach there. And there was divisions there between the offense and the defense.
Yeah.
The one thing he did promote Tim Tebow. And I was a Tebow fan. I'll be honest with you, Sonny. I know a lot of people weren't, but I was that magical year that Tim had until
he won football games.
Figured it out. Yeah, I understand that. He never was great as a passer, but at least he was in his corner, because Kyle Orton was a very difficult teammate. He was not the kind of guy that would help another fellow quarterback. He was egotistical to hang on to his job, and he was almost like, resisting it to the point. He just had a lousy attitude. And Daniels came in there and he did absolutely nothing. Now, Josh at that time was a young man. Okay, now he's older, more mature. I'm not saying he won't work out, but I think of Lane Kiffin, the same kind of situation. And Lane keeps getting chance after chance at coaching a college program, and he's now got another job. So I don't know, Sonny. I mean, I don't know enough about Joe Judge to tell you, but I mean, his track record, at least this year, was not really very good, because nobody really stood out, whether it would be wide receivers, running backs, the quarterback position. I mean, New England struggled most of the second half of the season. So I'll be honest with you, I don't really know enough about his background to tell you, but I think it's a risky hire personally. I mean,
I think it's a risky hire.
I think,
but you also got to look at this football team. I mean, they were 12-4. Okay. Of course, they should have been 13-3, the Miami game, fine. And in the second round of the playoff. Yeah, they should be there. But based upon who they had, name me anybody besides Julian Edelman that's a wide receiver for that football team. I know of one because they traded for Sanu, but he took a little time to get into it. But after Kevin Hogan, who else do you have?
Kevin Hogan, right? Kevin Hogan's still there?
No, actually, I thought Hogan was gone. I'll check, but
you're right.
But think about this though. There's no great big name. You didn't replace Rob Gronkowski, the guy that Tom Brady depended on to get to the ball to in a pickle. And so you can look at a lot of things. So if you look at it based upon the personnel that was out on the football field, offensively, they did not have a bad wide receiver core. I mean, they still won football games. Now, granted, no one ripped the meat from the bones, but that check mark underneath the W is the most important thing in reality. And I think that was probably one of the reasons why he still ended up getting this job, because the New York Giants, you look at that personnel out there, they don't have a lot to write home to mama about at the wide receiver position.
No, not at all. Not at all, especially after they lost Beckham. They've got nobody stand out in the receiving core, and that was their biggest question everybody had about them going into training camp. Everything I read about what are the Giants going to do with the wide receiver position? And,
absolutely,
a bunch of no names that nobody knew about, career journeyman.
Yep.
And so as I said, you're right. There's nobody that really stood out. I mean, at least New England in the past, you had a Troy Brown, and you had somebody that would stand out. But you're right, he didn't have much help, and no one exactly stepped up for Edelman either. And I mean, Tennessee was not stupid. They held Julian down. He only had 3 catches in the game.
Absolutely.
30 yards for 3 catches. I didn't see anybody step up. So that's why when people always blame the quarterback for everything, Tom Brady wasn't as accurate as he has been, or whatever. But he didn't have really a lot of help around him either.
Absolutely.
At all.
And he's trying to make plays, which leads to the interceptions and things. He's trying to make plays. And that just goes to show his greatness, realizing someone's got to do something. So that means trying to squeeze the ball in maybe where he shouldn't have and things of that sort. So, so picking up this guy, maybe that was a good thing. So we'll see. I agree with you. I don't know much about him. I just know that the Patriots, they won 12 football games and they should have won 13, probably 14 because of dropping one of those games at home. That
Right.
They could have keep Kansas City or Baltimore out of there. But that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. There's a lot that has to happen, and a great division of football for them to go in, especially when 10-6 has a good chance of winning this division. Maybe they're not too far away from it if they get a couple of pieces, and they're going to have to do that in free agency or obviously through the draft. So we'll see what the New York Giants do as they move forward. So it should be an interesting thing as it is. Now, that having been said, that's the name of the show. We're going to go to the first game that's up on tap here. That's going to end up happening on Saturday. Don't forget, guys, Saturday is the day where we'll see the game. And I'm going to skip around because there's some things that I want to talk about in personnel. And I want to go to Sunday's game, the 3:05 game, the Houston Texans. That's the game I want to start off with because there's a lot to talk about this game because of the fact the way the Houston Texans won that football game. That was huge. You can say whatever you want about them, and I don't think that they're contenders. I think they're pretenders, but they were 10-6 overall. Of course, they were first in the AFC South, winning the division, which, by the way, wasn't a great great thing because you had Tennessee right behind them. And of course, they get Baltimore on Saturday. So, but this game right here, when you take a look at it, obviously people are looking at the Kansas City Chiefs to rule this thing, but there's a reason why. First of all, they got the bye. Second of all, you still have the same situations that we talked about last week. Houston was just, able to ink out the game, which blew my mind against Buffalo. And now Buffalo did let that game go. They didn't score after they got to 19. Then Houston, all they had to do is get back into it, and that went all the way into the fourth quarter or into overtime when they tied the game. So, Buffalo definitely dropped the ball in that one, but a lot of things that we talked about last week in that game still apply, and it might even be worse this week against Kansas City Chiefs.
Absolutely, Sonny. I'm really glad you hit on this subject because there was a major turning point in the game last week. First of all, there were several issues that happened. Okay, as far as Buffalo was concerned, I did this by memory, okay, and I know I'm accurate on this. In the first half, Sonny, Buffalo had 248 yards total offense.
Mm-hmm.
Had 81. I recall.
Yep.
Okay. However, I went down to take a break at halftime, take a walk, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? Houston is been let off the hook. The score line was 13-0, and
they were buried.
All they need is one score. They're in the game. It's a 2-score game. Their offense is not going to stay that bad. And it comes down to this, Sonny, conservative football teams. And that's why you have to have a balance. Conservative football teams. And you could see what Buffalo was trying to do. They were trying to shorten the game, run the clock. And Josh Allen had the big 42-yard run early in the game. They got the touchdown. But after that, they had chance after chance. They were bleeding the clock. Houston was not getting on the field. All Buffalo had to do, Sonny, was basically score one more touchdown. And all they did was settle for field goals. So now it's 16-0. We're late in the third quarter. And the turning point of the game was clear to me. J.J. Watt, okay? And J.J. Watt, we criticized him, of course, coming back, would ruin the chemistry after missing the last 10 weeks of the regular season, including the bye week. He didn't do much in the game, but he got, if you recall, a critical sack. Now, if Buffalo had scored at this point in the game, if they had put the game away with any of these drives, and instead of settling for field goals a touchdown, the game is over. Fans are going home depressed. Everybody's leaving early like the Indy game last year, and Buffalo advances. But J.J. Watt got a critical sack.
Big time.
Stopped them. The place went nuts. The teammates were lifted. The whole stadium just went nuts about it, and it lifted them. It did. I'm telling you it did, because on their next possession, that's when they got it together.
Yep.
And Watson puts 3 great drives together, and I'll give Buffalo credit. They did come back to get the field goal. But again, in that situation, when you're on the road and you got the field position and you're down inside the 20, you have got to score a touchdown. And I thought that coach was way too conservative, in my opinion. And it killed them. And eventually it cost them the game. And just don't think they had the killer instinct.
Yep.
I really don't.
And not only that, you have Deshaun Watson doing what he does. Okay. You know, as much as I dislike his game, and I do, because it's not that a traditional game that Sonny's used to. And of course, the game that I like to see, I do not like the you put him in the shotgun and then of course doing what he does at the last minute. That kind of game, it will be figured out sooner or later. Now, obviously it'll be later. There might not be something that anybody is going to be able to do about it. But when I looked at the Houston Texans, okay, I was looking at the thing as far as the stats were concerned. 28 points average for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Houston Texans, 23.6. Okay, so immediately we're seeing a difference as far as a one touchdown in reality kind of thing working there, somewhere in that area. But the number that was really huge when I was looking at the stats is that are points that are allowed. Right. Houston Texans give up 24 points a game. The Kansas City Chiefs only give up 19. So, you know, those numbers, they don't, first of all, they don't lie. But at the second time, you take a look at it. If you want to talk about numbers not lying, you look at Deshaun Watson with 3,852 yards passing this year. Patrick Mahomes, now think about it. He is who he is, 4,031 yards. So you're only talking about a 200-yard difference, but an extra dynamic that a Deshaun Watson brings to a football game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, Patrick Mahomes, you have to remember, Sonny, that Patrick Mahomes also missed time.
Yes.
With an injury. I'm looking at my notes.
That's where I was trying to let people know. And in this case, it sure looks like, well, you know, there's not, you know, nothing really going on here. I mean, you know, Deshaun Watson brings a different aspect, but you throw those 4 or 5 games that Patrick Mahomes are, the guy's over 5,000 yards or near 5,000. So a totally different aspect when you do. So don't look at the numbers and go, well, you know, maybe Deshaun Watson might be able to get, now he may be able to get the job done. They might be able to go into Arrowhead and get a victory, which I don't see happening. But, you know, at the same time, you're looking at a dynamic of a quarterback that doesn't have to do things. Why? Because he has the personnel. You know, you look at Travis Kelce. This guy is a tight end, and he's got 1,229 yards this year. Okay, that's at the tight end position. Any team in the NFL would wish their wide receiver could get that, and one DeAndre Hopkins with only 1,165 yards. So now, granted, that's obviously because Deshaun Watson will do what he will do with his legs, and also maybe sharing the ball with Carlos Hyde. But at the same time, it just goes back. You just go back to Brady, you know, Gronk. This is a Brady Gronk situation. And when they get behind, they know where each other are in their mentality on where Travis Kelce will be and where Patrick Mahomes will have to throw the football.
Exactly, Sonny. Here's the thing, and you read my mind, because I was going to mention this. The Kansas City Chiefs last year had to make a very difficult decision. Andy Reid, who's very loyal to his coaches, like a good head coach should be, let Bob Sutton go. Bob Sutton had some success as a head coach at Army, if you recall.
Yes.
He was a long-time defensive coordinator. And Kansas City last year, let's face it, their defense sucked up the joint.
Yep.
They got toasted. New England basically had their way with them in that AFC Championship game. He brought in Spagnuolo. He fired Sutton, and that was something that he felt he had to do. And there has been no team in the National Football League this year, Sonny, that has improved defensively more than Kansas City.
Absolutely.
They have given up only 19 points a game. Last year, 26. A full touchdown a game left, which is enormous. It is the difference in winning and losing games. I have a theory. You give up 20 points or less, you're elite defensively. If you don't, you're going to be on the borderline.
Yep.
They only allowed 19 and change, and they've been great for weeks. I've watched games. They dominated Oakland in Oakland. They killed Denver. And, that was the game that Flacco got hurt. But they were killing them at that time. They stepped up against New England with a goal line stand late to win that game.
Yep.
In New England, of all things. I haven't seen Kansas City this active. And they don't have Justin Houston anymore. Eric Berry and all these guys, they're gone.
Yep.
But Andy has basically revamped this defense, and Chris Jones has been great defensively. Frank Clark, and they're basically, these guys have stepped up, and they basically made some personnel changes, but they've got him younger, quicker, more athletic, and it's working. And that's why I think Kansas City is more of a threat this time, because they have a balance. Mahomes doesn't have to throw for 400-yard games. And last year, it seemed like every game he's on the highlight reel. He's still good.
Yep.
He had He had for the season, he had 26 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He still had great numbers, but he didn't have to score. They didn't have to score 35, 40 a week as they used to.
Yep.
They were like 6th in the league in offense. They're still very good offensively. Now they have a balance. So that's what makes them dangerous. I agree with you completely. And I said defensively is where they have really stepped up. And Kansas City has already beaten Houston. They played in Kansas City earlier, and the Chiefs handled them.
Not only they not only beat them, but really put it up. Difference in that one will be J.J. Watts. Now, J.J. Watts. Now, the thing where I was sorry, I was wrong about was J.J. Watt's effectiveness in that game, because this guy was a badass in this. And you're talking 50 defensive plays, and he got in there, got the sack. He created he created so much of a problem for the quarterback to throw the football. He had to go to sometimes his second and sometimes even his third option because J.J. Watts was in his face. This guy gets to the quarterback. The only difference is when you're looking at the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs compared to the Buffalo Bills, there's not even a comparison. The offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs is much better than the Buffalo Bills. And, well, obviously, they got to protect the golden boy. They got to protect the golden arm of what's happening with Patrick Mahomes there. So, how effective will J.J. Watts be? I think he will be effective. I think he will be able to get to the quarterback. But the amount of times that he'll be able to get to the quarterback is going to be the big question. And the effectiveness of him in that game. How is Kansas City they're going to have a game plan for J.J. Watts without question. They're going to figure out a way to take him out of the game and move around him. And when you get compared to the quarterbacks, Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, well, you have the MVP of last year. You got a quarterback that'll be able to figure out what they got to do to get around the guy. And talk about checking down. I'm telling you right now, we make fun of quarterbacks checking down. But I'm going to tell you right now, Patrick Mahomes knows how to check down. He knows when to check down. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to let J.J. Watts do what he's going to do. And all they're going to end up doing is having Patrick Mahomes taking a step up in the pocket and let him go beyond him. Yeah. Now, the question will he get back there to get him before he releases the ball? Yeah,
he's going to be chasing air because you got Tyreek Hill, who's faster than a speeding bullet.
Yep.
You got Travis Kelce. Good luck covering him. Yep. No one usually is able to do so. You got Shady McCoy. You got weapons all over the place.
Yep.
That's the difference here. Houston didn't have to worry about that last week. Really, they're going to have to really worry about that this week. And, I have to say, Patrick Mahomes' maturity for a 24-year-old quarterback is off the charts. And he learns, and he takes the coaching. And I've even seen him make less mistakes this year enforcing things than he even did last year. And that was a record-breaking year. He is really mature. You can say you want what about Andy Reid, but he is especially when it comes to the quarterback position, he has really molded this guy into a really great player. And I think Kansas City really right now, Sonny, they have to feel in a sense that they got like a second win because they don't have to go through New England. And now that is, even though yes, I realize Baltimore's 14-2, it's still they got to prove it. You know what I'm saying? So Kansas City's a window of opportunity now that has never been greater. But yeah, I agree. But you know what's an also interesting thing, Sonny, is that I have noticed there's been one very common theme with all of these teams as we get to these last 8 teams. Everybody is very comparable, incredibly in the top half of the league next to each other in rankings in 2 things, okay? Forcing turnover margin kind of thing.
Yep.
Right. And rushing the football.
Yep.
Those seem to be the most 2 common themes for all 8 of these teams that have gotten to this level. Okay. And the thing is about Houston, Carlos Hyde is not going to scare you.
Nope.
I respect,
you don't have to game plan for him.
I respect him, but he's a tough back. But Houston does not provide the rushing threat. And Will Fuller, okay, all right, ho hum, 49 catches. I know during the year that's nothing. Uriah Hopkins is kind of underachieved, and Watson had to do a lot of this on his own, running for his life.
Yep.
And it's going to be tough this time because Kansas City has a very athletic defense, and I think they're going to have a lot of problems. I mean, Houston cannot
have to get the ball downfield.
Yeah,
they're going to have to get the ball downfield, and that's where Will Fuller will come in and be a part of it. But I will tell you right now, if they don't get the ball down the field, and not only that, do it quick. I mean, that defense will be on them really quick. Now, what they are going to have to figure out, though, is once they decide, Deshaun Watson decides, well, Fuller's not going to be there. Then he's got the other guy on the other side. His name's slipped my mind. But when he doesn't have his go-to guys, then they have to worry about his legs. And that's one of the things that they're going to have to figure out. How much of the legs will we see from Deshaun Watson in this game? I think, and I'm going to be honest, I think you have to see a lot of his legs in this game in order for him to win. If they're going to win, yes, they're going to have the downfield threat. But at the same time, those guys aren't going to be open every single time they go downfield or want to go deep down the field. And then it will be up to Deshaun Watson to make it up with his legs to get the first down.
I just think Houston's offensive line said he's going to have a problem because Kansas City was number 1 in the league at 45 sacks, which is pretty good. And you consider they get to the quarterback and Watson gets sacked a lot, that does not provide a good combination. I cannot see Houston's offensive line being able to physically match up with Kansas City defensively. Yeah. I just think they're too sleek, too quick, too active. I think they're going to have a problem. And I'll tell you right now, Houston cannot afford to get off to a slow start. They have to be prepared to win a shootout here. I hate to say that.
Oh, I agree with you because they don't have a running game. Taiwan Jones is going to have to step in because I don't think we're going to see the regulars at the running back position for the Houston Texans. I don't think if I'm not mistaken, we're not going to see Carlos Hyde. So I
didn't know that.
So, but you go with it. It's going to be interesting. I still, regardless if they had Carlos Hyde, I'm still on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's hard. First of all, it's almost like Gillette. It's hard to win at Gillette. It's hard to win at Arrowhead. And by the way, just to let you,
it didn't used to be. It didn't used to be. Kansas City over the years at home, Sonny, actually wasn't that great.
Right.
But yeah, it's still a hostile environment. The fan base is unbelievably noisy. And, if you're not used to being in that situation as a player in the opposing team, and Watson is still a very inexperienced quarterback. He's still very young. But, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But, I was just Kansas City's not been a great home team. I'd be honest with you. Now, this year it's been better, of course. But I just think it's too much to overcome, Sonny. Houston cannot afford to get behind like they did last week. If they get behind 16-0 this week or 19-0, the game is over.
Yeah.
There is no way. Kansas City's not going to stop with their offense. It's not going to be like Buffalo and bleed the clock and hope the 60 minutes runs out and you scored one more point than they did. That ain't going to happen here because Kansas City is going to keep attacking all game long. You know that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And when I'm looking right now as far as who they played at home. They played Baltimore. They beat Baltimore. They're one of the teams that beat Baltimore, but that was obviously at home. So that was something for them. Now they did take a loss to the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans at home. So those are the two games that they dropped at home. And they dropped they lost to Green Bay at home as well. So this year we're not seeing a lot of greatness at home, but where you did see the greatness at home was the last three games. They won their last three games at home, but you also got to remember the competition. Towards the end of the year, obviously they're playing more of it within their own district. I almost went to high school. Their own division of football. With they got the victory against the Chargers as well as the Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders all at home. So when you look at that, then they got that huge victory against Minnesota 26-23 at home. So you looked at it, they went 3-3 in reality. But it's a different game, playoff game. But it's not like the Kansas City Chiefs are familiar with being where they are. Obviously, before Patrick Mahomes, joined the club up there, you're only getting so much from Alex Smith at the time that he was quarterback in this football team, and of course the quarterbacks before that. So they just got a rejuvenized team, and it comes from the simple fact of the matter is when you have the MVP of last year out on your football team, you've got something going on really good right there. So my brother, that's my brother is going with Kansas City as well. I don't think too many people are expecting the upset in reality, unless I think you're a Houston Texans fan out there.
Not really, Sonny. I really haven't seen more than even on Pick Watch. Hardly anybody's picking Houston. I mean, I remember now. You're right, and that was my bad. Yeah, I think that was the time that Mahomes was out. If I remember when Kansas City was in a home stretch. And I remember Watson came into town. I remember you're right, and they beat him. That's
well, last year you couldn't beat them at home. If I'm not mistaken, they only dropped 1 of the 6 at home, or 1 of the 8 at home. So
you're right.
You got to be, it's still that way. And those fans are rabid. I know a lot of those fans in that area as well. As far as that is concerned. So good to see my brother. I thought I had to relink it. Did I send you the second link? I was going to bring my brother in if he wants to go on, I'll bring him on. Tell me in the messages to send you the link, and I'll send it over to you if you want to get on air. But that's the first game that I wanted to look at as far as that was concerned. Now, some more news, just really quick, because there's been obviously some of the news that has happened as far as hiring of head coaches. We kind of touched on the fact that we were going to see the Panthers former head coach go over to the Washington Redskins, but they also went ahead. Not only did they get the head coach, they went ahead and got the Carolina Panthers executive Rob Rogers as senior vice president of football operations. So they're trying to get guys that are familiar with obviously their situation there in Carolina. But obviously the big question in Carolina is the quarterback position. And I mean, I don't know. Do we see Cam Newton in a Panther uniform next year? And I'm going to tell you, I don't think so, because we're just hearing way too much. It's one thing to hear a rumor here and there about a quarterback's future, but when we've been hearing so much that we've been hearing about Cam Newton not being on this football team, I think there's a lot to do with it.
Sonny, I'll be honest with you. They hired Matt Rule, right?
Yep. No. The Washington Redskins.
Well, they hired Rivera. I know that.
They hired Rivera, and they got the executive vice president, the senior vice president of football administration from Carolina, Rob Rogers. So they're familiarizing Rivera with people that he knows and who he trusts.
Okay, I understand. Okay, sure. Yeah. Well, I apologize. I thought you were talking about Carolina for a second, but I don't know what Cam Newton's future is going to be. Matt Rule went to Carolina, right?
Yeah. No, okay. Matt Rule went to. Has he been hired yet?
Yes. I believe he got a 7-year contract.
Oh God, that's right. Who was that with? Oh geez, I mean,
I thought it was Carolina.
I'm pulling the big brain fart. It was the big news.
It has to be Carolina. I don't think there was any other opening. It had to be them.
Well, it was in Carolina. Bad. Take a step back. I had Rivera on the mind.
That's right. I thought so. That's why I said something.
Yeah. So, no.
That's another opinion. I mean, I probably would be kicked off YouTube if I really, said what I wanted to say about that. But I'm not a Matt Rule fan at all. Okay, I saw their bowl game. I saw, I don't want the people in Dallas to be angry at me because I know he's in Baylor. But I don't like him. Sorry, I don't like his mannerisms. I don't like the way he acts. I don't think he's that bright. He reminds me, Sonny, of Alvin Gentry, the coach of the Pelicans in the NBA.
Okay.
I've heard this guy in a huddle. This is what he'll say. He'll say something like this, Sonny. Guys, dig in. Let's get a stop. We got to stick together, play together. Wow. Gee, I could do that. That's Matt Rule. I don't know, boy. I think Carolina effed themselves beyond belief with that hire. I'm sorry. I do not like it. I think it is going to be a major mistake, and especially signing him for 7 years.
Well, that's what got me. I mean, how he wrapped that up. I mean, give it to his agent or give it to him, whoever or however that ended up happening. But you got to remember, Matt Rule's only been the head coach of Baylor for 3 years. He was hired in December, so he really didn't start until 2017, 18, and 19. 3 years at Baylor. Okay, so you got to take a look at that kind of thing. You got to ask yourself the question. In 2018, they finished 6-6. They went to the Texas Bowl. Okay, so hey, great. They beat Vanderbilt. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, but just this past year, I mean, the regular season went 11-1, so he turned the team around, almost doubling up victories. But at the same time, it's not like they had the biggest competition in college football. Okay, so they had that, going. I agree with you. I am not seeing where the hiring of this guy is helping anybody there. So,
and Sonny, plus this too. If you remember correctly, when Baylor had it, when their fans were hopeful, my God, can we get to the playoff? Does anybody remember the Oklahoma game in the regular season when they were up, 35-7 at halftime and lost?
Yeah, and they blew it. Yeah, exactly.
And in the bowl game, I watched the bowl game because I don't watch many bowl games because I'm too busy. I'll watch the playoff. I watched a couple bowl games when it was involving teams I like this Hawaii. But I watched Baylor. I had nothing to do that night. I watched Baylor in that bowl game, and Sonny, they were pathetic. They were awful. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were smashed, and he made no adjustments at halftime. I mean, honestly, I cannot see. I think Carolina made an unbelievable blunder. I'm not, and I'm not against young people with experience, that are up and comers, but you got to know who you're hiring.
Absolutely.
I just think that, and I'll tell you quite honestly, I cannot picture Cam Newton now staying in Carolina at all.
It doesn't fit the offense. That's one of the things as well. It's not what Cam Newton does. Now, granted, if you take a look what they were doing with Cam Newton for the last 2 years, which was keeping him in the pocket as much as possible. But at the same time, the NFL is changing to Cam in reality. Okay. Now Cam got beat up. Okay, so he's a little gun shy. Not only that, the guy needed more flags thrown for him for as many hits as this guy took. And believe me, they were going to keep hitting him until the flags throw. So that wasn't going to happen. They were going to continue hitting this guy. The only problem is that as far as that is concerned, and when you take a look at Cam Newton, I'm just trying to figure out what football team. Everybody's talking about the Bears. He doesn't fit the mold of the Chicago Bears. I don't get it. I mean, granted, he may be a great talent, but he doesn't fit the mold of what the Chicago Bears are. So I'm missing that whole situation. I'm missing why the Bears would be a place for him to go. So maybe it's because I'm not all that bright. Obviously, 0 for 4. So I probably can't be all that bright. But at the same time, I don't see where Cam Newton fits in the Chicago Bears as far as that's concerned. So it should be interesting. All right, guys, what we're going to do is we are going to take a quick break, but you won't lose us this time. The storm went past us. That's the reason why we had to double up and do this. But when we come back, we're going to hit those other 3 games. We're going to knock those things out, cover some more of the NFL news that are happening. So we'll do that. We're going to take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, let's get back in. We'll go to the first game that is happening on Saturday. You're watching the Couch Potato Sports Show. Enjoy. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. At the Jerry Bullet Training Center, we truly believe experience is the best teacher. With over 50 combined years of knowledge and experience in sports performance and athletic training, our coaches understand exactly what it takes to achieve your goals. Contact Melvin Bullet at 214-326-7853 or visit their brand new facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett.
Find out how Merchant Masters DFW, specializing in small business companies, can help you save money and protect your customers' information with our credit card processing and point-of-sale system, including financial savings, lowest possible rates, superior technology, and improved support. Or contact John Beeman, Merchant Masters DFW, different from all the rest.
At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com. At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. So roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors, proud sponsor of the Rowlett Eagles radio broadcast.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Costlow Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costlow Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostlowInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
RowlettFood.com. Do you want to have dinner delivered but you don't want to use Uber Eats? Contact someone locally that can do the same thing at a better price and faster. All you have to do is pick a restaurant on the list at the website, tell us what you'd like to order, then check out. Check out RowlettFoods.com. Give us a call at 972-408-8002 or check us out on the web at RowlettFood.com. Richardson, Texas. Look out. SOAR Championship Wrestling presents SOAR Mania, Thursday, February 13th at the Richardson Civic Center. Bell time is at 7:30. This Mania you don't want to miss.
And welcome back into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and we'll bring Todd Mintz back in here as we're looking at the games that are happening. We're both on the Kansas City Chiefs. This game takes place. It's the first game on Sunday that is happening in the NFL for the playoffs for this week. Now, that having been said, of course, that's the name of our show. Catch us all the time. Let's go to Saturday as the Minnesota Vikings heading over to the San Francisco 49ers in a very interesting game that's going on. And the main reason why is, man, the 49ers, they got that first week bye. Man, that is really good for them. I mean, really, when you think about it, the whole thing worked out great, I think. For Minnesota, I think they needed to keep playing. You know, sometimes when you talk and you see a football team and you got Kirk Cousins, okay, you got to continue to play. You can't let I don't think you can let Kirk Cousins take a week off and expect him to be great, okay? I think this guy needs to continually do it week after week. But Jimmy Garoppolo and company and the San Francisco 49ers, they get some time to heal at some key positions. They had a couple injuries that they're probably going to get those guys back. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And so they get the bye and set themselves up beautifully here in reality, because if there's any team that you want to see, I think it's the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Minnesota's defense is badass. There is no question about that. And if you don't think it's badass, you don't know football, okay? Their defense is badass. So that being said, where you got to beat this football team if you're the 49ers is put pressure on Kirk Cousins to have him make mistakes, and you have a pretty good opportunity to win a football game, and one of your first in playoffs in a very long time for San Francisco.
Yeah, of course, the lack of experience, Sonny, and again, I don't claim at my old age to have the greatest memory, but I do remember certain things, and this is kind of deja vu, because if I remember correctly, Sonny, about 30 years ago, these teams played, if I remember correctly, in Candlestick in a divisional playoff game. It was kind of a similar story at that time because nobody really gave Minnesota a chance. And if I remember correctly, the Vikings went in there and beat them and eliminated the 49ers from the playoffs.
Yep, they did. I think I remember what you're talking about, and I think you're correct. So your memory is not your memory's not hurting you right there.
I remember that. I think it was Wade Wilson. I could be wrong. It doesn't, I know it's irrelevant now, but the point is that just because the 49ers, my point, Sonny, just because they have the number one seed is not an automatic assumption that they're going to get to the Super Bowl. I love their team. Don't get me wrong. But they lost as number one seed at home many times, including when nobody thought that Parcells and the Giants would go in there.
Yeah, agreed.
And win 13-10. On a field goal by Matt Barr in the final play of the game. And no one gave the Giants a chance. And the thing is, you can never rule Minnesota out because, as you say, their defense. Now, I'll be honest. I took a bath on that last week. You had a bad week. Yeah, I only won one game, but I am equally as responsible because I said, oh, the New Orleans is going to rout Minnesota. And I was like real arrogant about it. And I looked like a fool. And I lost the game, the pick. And
that's all right. It happens to me all the time.
I never thought that Kirk Cousins, though, Sonny, would step up the way he did, and I'll give him credit. I'll take the bow and say you were the better man that day, and he was. He made no mistakes, dude. He no interceptions. Very accurate in his passing. He moved the ball. He did it. He got it done in the clutch. I mean, he passed every test. But let me just say this. And I will stick to this theory. No team is reliant more on one player than they are with Delvin Cook.
Absolutely.
Because he runs the ball well. they do well. If he's limited or he's contained or he's injured, it is a different team.
Absolutely.
So the story in this one is the 49ers have some badass defenders, dude. I mean, they got Fred Warner, Joey Bosa, all of these guys, Eric Armstead, and sacks. All of these guys can get to the quarterback, okay? And Richard Sherman, okay? I'm not going to say that Richard Sherman is quite washed up, but it kind of reminds me of when, if you remember, Sonny, when Ronnie Lott, and a lot of you will remember when Ronnie Lott was in his prime with the Niners at the end of his career, he kind of slowed down. He went to the Jets toward the end of his career. Roddy Harrison, who was with San Diego all that time.
Yep.
My point being, sometimes what you lose in your pure ability, you make up for it with guile and intelligence. And I don't think Richard Sherman is quite the player that he was in Seattle. Okay, but you still see the respect factor. He still holds his own. Teams throw away from him more than they do the other side.
Absolutely.
And the Niners have an active defense all over the place. Okay, not only that, Sonny, another thing I noticed in the NFL this year, scoring seemed down. If you look at the playoffs last week, we had 4 low-scoring games.
Yes, that's true.
Remind me of the 80s and the 70s and 80s football, okay? And this year, only 2 teams, and usually there were like 4 or 5 every year, only 2 teams this year said he averaged 30 points or more a game, which tells you the offense was down somewhat in scoring. Well, San Francisco was one of them. Baltimore being the top dog at 34 a game. The Niners averaged 30 points a game. And the thing is, they've got a matchup issue that I think Minnesota's going to have a real problem with, and that is covering George Kittle. With the 85 catches that he has on the season, 5 touchdowns, and every game you watch this guy, he can do it all. He can block. He can get out. He can catch them deep down the field. He is he's like Kelsey would be for Kansas City. They're going to have Harrison Smith cover this guy. I think this is a win-win for San Francisco. Not only that, look at the running game, okay? I don't know if people know this, but their running back, I think his last name, I don't want to, is Mustard, right? He was a factor at the end of the season in the Seattle game. People will not know this. He actually averaged more yards per average per carry than even Derrick Henry. He just didn't have enough to qualify in the stats. He carried about an average of 9 times a game, Sonny. He averaged 5.6 yards a carry.
Yep.
Which is unbelievable.
It's
That's
nuts.
like college numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and just to think of that number, okay? Walter Payton averaged 4.6 yards a carry. All right. So now, granted, that's over a long period of time, but you get close to what you're looking at as far as what that means.
They're just so diversified. But the thing that worries me is the lack of experience. Garoppolo's never been in this situation. And on the negative end of it, he does have 12 interceptions.
Yeah.
There are times he's looked pretty cruddy at times. I'll be truthful. I know he's the leader of that football team. The thing is, Sonny, that if he makes mistakes, the Vikings have the players to capitalize, and we know they have the defense. I mean, we know between Hunter, 14 and a half sacks on the season, Everson Griffin, a pretty darn good secondary, Rhodes and Smith. I mean, the Vikings can hold their own in this game. And I'll be honest, if the Niners are in a close game in the fourth quarter, I'm worried that nerves will get in the way. That's my only concern. I think talent-wise and being at home, they should have it, but we don't know. This game is actually quite hard to call.
I agree with you. And here's another thing. The regular season and the playoffs, they don't call it the second season for nothing. Okay. This is a totally different football game than what you get in the regular season. You can go and do whatever you're going to do in the regular season, because I've seen many teams drop in the first round of the playoffs, with 11-5, 12-4. Obviously, look at the Saints. Look what happened to them. Lost in the freaking first round in the wild card spot. So, it turns into a different story at that again. And you go back to experience. You're right. Only a dozen players right now have postseason experience, and that's counting Garoppolo, who didn't even play. So, he was just on a football team that had him there. So there's a lot of things that you got to look at in that game. That is one of them. Experience means something. But I think one of the big things that you're looking at is they're still got some injuries. They did not, from whatever is going on with Jordan Matthews, okay, he's probably going to be inactive for the game. At least that's according to some of the things that I was looking up as far as that is concerned. Emmanuel Sanders played in 2 Super Bowls. So
Right.
these are guys that are vital to the football team. Jordan Matthews is a badass, and Emmanuel Sanders may not be that number 1 wide receiver that you think of when you think of a football team and his name comes to your top of your head. But he's a guy that you'll forget, and he's a guy that'll burn you because you forgot him. And so that's one of the things that they got going for him. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that as far as San Francisco is concerned. Minnesota on the other side. Listen, Minnesota, I look at Minnesota in a very different light. I really do. Minnesota plays in a very tough division of football. These guys are black and blue football in the grind. And if this game gets down to the grind, man, I think I'm right there with you. And is Jimmy Garoppolo ready for the big stage? I don't know. And with the fact of the experience that is there, I should sit there and look at that home team and go there. Who's the better quarterback? It's obviously Jimmy Garoppolo. But guess what? If Kirk Cousins doesn't lose the game for him, that's going to be the difference in the game. We can look at all the positions. We can look at the experience, and we can look at this is still going to come down to quarterback play. And if Kirk Cousins throws for 260 yards, no interceptions, maybe 2 touchdowns, and lets Delvin Cook do all the work, they're going to win this football game. And I'm actually I can't believe this because I can't stand Kirk Cousins. I can't stand him. This guy gets paid. Listen, this guy's tripping into another big payday at the end of this year, regardless what ends up happening. And if they win this game, it might get him a couple extra million. In his next new contract. I'm actually going to Minnesota Vikings in this one because of the lack of experience, because of the lack. This is the first time you're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo. Hey, center stage at home. We get momentum is a lot. And I'm going to tell you that, and that defense of Minnesota, it's just something that's talking to the back of my brain that Minnesota is going to go in there and they're going to win that game. Now, I was listening to the national coverage. Everybody thinks Sonny Clark is nuts because everybody is on the 49ers in this one. It's not why I'm picking them.
No, they're not.
It's not why I'm picking them, by the way, just to let everybody know, because it's against them. No, I'm telling you right now, Delvin Cook is going to be a big part of this football game, whether it's running the football or if they're going to get the ball to him on 3rd down and let him get the first downs. And that goes to that check down part of the game. And listen, Kirk Cousins is a master of it. He might be captain check down number 2, second to only Alex Smith. So you look at that. I San Francisco just doesn't impress me, and so when I was looking at it and figuring out who I was I immediately went San Francisco. But I also then dug into it. The experience factor is killer. And listen, Zimmer's gonna be all over that. He's gonna know who's out on that football field. He's gonna know who's on the football field, how defensive, and what they got to do in order to stop them. And that's another thing. I like the coaching a little bit better in Minnesota as well.
Sonny, before we go on to the next game, I got to be honest with everybody here right now, and I'm being very Scout's honor, cross my heart. Just talking to you on the air right now changed my pick. I normally don't do that. I basically
I think you've even told me not to do that, didn't you? You've told me not to do that.
Well, I'm doing it right now. I could be wrong, but it's just for fun. Who cares? But I'm going to be honest with you. After some of the things I pointed out, and then hearing you reinforce that thought, I've changed my pick. Because all week I said to myself, oh, yeah, everybody thinks San Francisco. Then I think to myself, here's a team that let its guard down against Atlanta. Mm-hmm. They're not exactly perfect. Sure, they won some big games. New Orleans, Baltimore. But if you have the right defensive scheme, and Zimmer does no defense,
Oh God,
slow that down. And 12 interceptions worries me.
Oh,
Dude.
oh yeah.
And remember, he even get. I just am concerned that I think Kirk Cousins has gained confidence. I'm not going to come out and say Minnesota's going to win the Super Bowl right now.
No.
That he's a Super Bowl quarterback. But talking this game, I agree. I really think that Minnesota gained a lot of confidence winning in New Orleans last week, which is always is going to help them. Now, I'm a little concerned about the short week. It's a little bit of a short week. I mean, they played last Sunday. They're back on the road again.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you that no team is reliant on its running game more than they are.
Yeah.
And if Delvin Cook is a factor and he is not contained, that is going to make Cousins' job easier. And all they've got to do is bait Garoppolo into a couple mistakes, Sonny.
And they
have
do
the
it too.
personnel to do it.
Yep. I really didn't want to miss the game. I didn't want to call this game and have the 49ers win. Now, I know my people in Rowlett are going to rip me. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Goodwin's still hurt. Marquise Goodwin's still hurt, so he's not going to play in this game. He might have been on injured reserve. I don't know if he went up, but it's not because I want to go against my Rowlett faithful out there with Marquise Goodwin. I just, what do they always say about playoffs? Defense wins games. Now, hey, listen, San Francisco got a good defense, but if you look at the last two games, they were not playing very good defense. And that's that momentum going into the playoffs is another thing Kirk Cousins, God, I cannot believe I'm picking the foot. I cannot believe I'm picking the
I'm picking him too. I'm picking him also.
Oh man, I don't know. I might have to go get my head examined.
No. I listened to you. And it swayed me. Okay. And we can be wrong together, but I'm going to be honest with you. If there's an upset, I see it here. I do.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking to myself, San Francisco 3 times, if I remember right, over the years has been at home in the playoffs and they've chunked. This is a spot with the type of team that Minnesota comes into town with. I can see them winning this game. And the only reason San Francisco did not lose the Seattle game, and they were choking, was because Seattle had a stupid 5-yard false start penalty on the final play of the game.
Yeah, I remember that. So, yeah, they're crazy.
I'm going to Minnesota. Heck with it. I'm gambling.
And my brother's going with the 49ers. He wants me to go get drug tested. I don't know. I don't know. And here's just another thing. When physical football games happen to a team that scores a lot, they don't score as much. They really don't. They take them off a pedestal, when you got a good defense that is out there. And that's another thing that scared me about the 49ers. They can score. But, man, when you go up against a team, I call them the black and blue teams of the NFC. And that's the NFC Central. Look at Green Bay, look at Chicago, and to a certain extent, the Detroit Lions.
Right.
Okay. They're all good defensive football team. They just get down and dirty on defense. Now, Green Bay doesn't do that, but 3 of the 4 in the NFC North, they're that, and they are one of them. Minnesota is one of them. So now that takes us to a game, and wow, I'm surprised Tennessee won. I mean, last week they get the victory, and they move along to the playoffs. And I don't have a lot to say about this game, because if Baltimore doesn't win this game, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be the happiest guy in the world. I am going to, in the words of Big Dog from Sports Talk with the Guys, is a guy that I will get in a Speedo and I will do a backflip off of a balance beam. I'm telling you, if that happens, my gosh, I will be the happiest guy in the world. Now, that being said, of course, I'm not expecting a lot, but if there's any team that can do it, look at Vrabel. Vrabel, even though that the Patriots were unable to stop Lamar Jackson, okay, you still got that defensive mind. Now, hey, listen, Vrabel, I think this is the game he wanted in reality. I think this is the game that Mike Vrabel wanted. Because if they go and they win against them, you have to look at the Titans as a Super Bowl contender going in there. Because now, are they going to get past Kansas City? Probably not. Okay. But for them to get to the AFC Championship game, where they are now, if you don't look at it as a successful season, you don't know Titan football. Okay, they needed something like this to get back and going. And so the big question is what are they going to do with Ryan Tannehill? Are they going to just sign him up again and let him roll with it, or are they going to bring somebody else in and keep Marcus Mariota as a backup? Or how that whole thing is going to shape out. That's going to be a very interesting offseason as far as Tennessee is concerned. But it is Ryan Tannehill. It is that wicked defense. And you want to talk about speed on defense. You look at Tennessee Titans defense. They're quick. And then you add up on, by the way, does Henry look like he's just gliding down the yardage every time he runs the football? It don't even look like he's half touches the ground when he runs the football.
Yeah, but the thing about it too, he has the power, the strength. That's what makes him so good. And you can't just bring him down with a little arm tackle. You gotta have a sure tackler on him. But I agree. Yeah, he's definitely the top running back in the league.
Absolutely,
I mean, not only statistically, but just in every way. Because you can't always go by stats, but he is the best running back today.
And by the way, just to let everybody know, if you go back in the archives of the Couch Potato Sports Show, I said that in week 4. That Derrick Henry was the best running back in this. Now, you had Delvin Cook, you had Ezekiel, you had the guy from the Chargers, Gordon, if he was going to come back and play. I told everybody, look out for this guy, because this guy is the works. And obviously a career year for him as well. That up on top of it, Baltimore, though, you're looking at this whole, the Baltimore defense right now. I'm going to tell you, you look at the whole thing, they're going to sell out. I'm going to tell you right now, if Baltimore does not sell out defensively to Henry, they are going to lose this football game. I think they have to sell out to him, because really, when you say Ryan Tannehill, you don't think of anybody that can beat you if you are the Baltimore Ravens. Now, if you're the Miami Dolphins, maybe. All right, but you're the Baltimore Ravens. You lost 3 games this year? So
true. I thought they were 14.
Yeah, they're 14-2. Yeah. So you only lost 2 games. They're not worried about Ryan Tannehill. They are going to pinpoint on what needs to happen. They are going to stop Henry from running. Hey, they might not stop him from running for 125 yards, but they'll definitely stop him better than the team that played him last week, who ran all over him. So, and I think that's that's the key of the game. It's not even Lamar Jackson, because we've seen Lamar Jackson win football games throwing for 125 yards game, okay, and a touchdown, okay? So they have to sell out. I think that's what needs to happen for Baltimore to win this game. And if Henry runs all over him at the end of the game, it's going to be close. And I don't know how experienced or how comfortable I feel with Lamar Jackson having to score on the last play of a football game. So that's a big now they did it through the regular season, but again, this is the playoffs. It's a totally different monster.
Totally different, Sonny. The thing about it is Baltimore doesn't have the name recognition on defense they did, but man, they played good defense. Judon's a good player on defense. And I mean, you look at that team, Sonny, they were 3rd in the league in defensive points allowed, only gave up 17.6 a game. However, they're not great at getting to the quarterback. Okay, they were actually the bottom 3rd in the league in that department. They only had 37 sacks. But here's the thing, though, and this is a big thing right here. Okay, both these teams are very good as far as turnover differential. Baltimore is +10, Tennessee is +6. But the problem that Tennessee has, and I see the same thing happening than it is last week, they don't really have any standout receivers, Sonny. There's just nobody. I mean, Corey Davis isn't going to scare me. I mean, honestly, I just don't see a lot there. And I cannot see Henry being able to single-handedly beat Baltimore's defense, because I think Baltimore is just too good, very honestly. Now, the question of this game is Mark Ingram's health. They say he's questionable. Of course, that means he's going to play. but not 100%. That will hurt their rushing attack. That's the only thing to look for, because that sets up Lamar Jackson and his running out of the pocket, and all that is set up on the success of their running backs, obviously. And if Mark is not 100%, that could limit their game plan and make it a little bit easier for their coordinator to figure it out. But they have Brown on the receiving core, and this is what was interesting to me, Sonny. Marquise Brown, I believe, is his name. He only had 46 catches during the season, Sonny, but 7 of those went for touchdowns. That is unreal production. So he is a big play threat. And as I said, I didn't argue with you. I debated with you this back and forth during the season. I have to say that I think Lamar Jackson right now is an MVP candidate, but I do agree with you, and I have said this publicly, that he will never last in this league 5 years down the line for him unless the style has changed. He cannot run the ball 15 times a game. I mean, he is lucky he has not avoided a serious injury. Even in the Rams game I watched, when he just tore them apart, there was one play, Sonny, he went down that the defender missed hitting his knees or his head, I think, by like a nanosecond. And all it takes, Sonny, is for one of those hits to happen. Goodbye, Baltimore Ravens. And that's what concerns me for the future for him, that he has got to become more of a pocket passer. Because if he isn't, his rating sucks as far as quarterback rating. He has 36 touchdowns. He led the league passing. Okay, but all that is set up by the running. But ultimately, again, that's why stats are misleading. Okay, I mean, he's not what you think of great quarterback passers that throws 36 touchdowns. He probably will never do that again in his career. But I just think that Baltimore is too versed, and I respect their defense too much for Tennessee really to be able to do a lot here. Don't get me wrong. I don't take a Vrabel team lightly. I have to think, though, that if Ingram is even relatively healthy in this game, I don't see Tennessee winning at all. I can't.
Well, the banner that I got right there just tells you what you're dealing with when you walk in there. All right, and the Ravens defense is very stingy. Only 17.6 points a game. Even that being said, let's just say that the Tennessee Titans can score 21 points. The Ravens are gonna score 24 or more. And that will be because of Derrick Henry and what he can bring to the football game. I just hate to see this, happen to the Tennessee Titans. Although, again, if Tennessee wins this game, it will go back and it'll prove my point. And it has nothing to do with I dislike the guy. Okay, I dislike the hype. What Lamar Jackson gets, because I've said it before. I'll say it again. He is not a good quarterback. I mean, if you want to debate that with me all day long, you can, but you'd be wrong. Okay, because good quarterbacks throw the ball for 250 yards a game, not 176, and use their legs. Okay, and that also being said, that kind of game does, like you said, doesn't last long. Okay, you can go back to the great Randall Cunningham. I had him on my show many years ago. He's a great guy. Okay, but there's a reason why Randall Cunningham didn't last very long in this league doing what he was doing. There's a reason why RG3 didn't last very long doing what he's doing in the league. These quarterbacks, when they start running, Cam Newton is lucky he's standing because he is taking a beating his whole career, and guy can't buy a flag. And because he's a runner, as soon as they take off, he is not a quarterback anymore. He is a running back, and that's what. And now I will tell him this: and the best hire, or the best, the best pickup for Baltimore this year was RG3. I mean, if there's anybody knows what the hell is going to happen by running the football, it's RG3. And if you watched him in that last game in week number 6,
he didn't run the ball.
He ran it about 3 or 4 times, but no one touched him. It's another thing. He can teach that to him and realize sooner or later, yes, you're going to have to take a hit. It's which hit are you going to take? And that is the biggest issue out of the whole thing. what kind of hit are you going to take? So, by the way, just to let you know, if you lose me, we're getting more and more rain. It's making a hell of a lot of noise out there. So, and if you saw the lights blink, it's because of that. So, so if you lose me, that's the reason why. But I mean, I'm on Baltimore in this game. I am so rooting for the Tennessee Titans to win this football game. Number 1 for Vrabel, number 2 for Henry, and number 3. I said it years ago, back in the show. I never thought Ryan Tannehill was necessarily a bad quarterback. I thought he was bad. He was a bad football team, and that's the difference. And it's same thing. Who started in Miami and Ryan Fitzpatrick took over from used to be the Arizona quarterback.
Josh Rosen.
Yeah, that guy needs an opportunity to be on a different football team, a good football team, because I think Rosen still has the capabilities of being a good quarterback. And that's one of the bad things of being ranked as high as you are. You end up on a football team like the Miami Dolphins, which, by the way, made Brandon Doughty is a guy that has got screwed over so many times for opportunities to run that football team. I'm telling you right now, I think Miami would have been a much better football team with Brandon Doughty. I seen that guy up close and personal when I did the ESPN deal where they had all of the quarterbacks that were there. He was by far better than all of them. And just by his stature, just by the way he played. The guy didn't get chance number 1 in Miami. He was on the practice squad for 3 years. That's all you could be on a practice squad, so you can't stay there. So then he ended up now where's Brandon Doughty? Guy that didn't get the opportunity. Rosen is another guy. When he played for Arizona and that rookie coach, that guy buried him. Then they buried him over to Miami, which in turn, if they would have had some kind of staff, I think that he would have been able to play a lot better too. He just didn't have any talent out there. That's what you get here with RG3. And not also, when you got RG3 for Baltimore, you got the same. You don't have to change the offense for the quarterback walking in. So that's a huge thing too. And especially when it's a offense that is not atypical NFL football. So they had all the advantages in the world right there. Baltimore should really not have a problem with Tennessee in reality. So it's a bummer. It hurts my feelings, but it is what it is. So last game that's up on it is the hardest game to pick.
Oh, my God.
The hardest game to pick, Seattle Seahawks going on the road to take on the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
The Green Bay Packers, listen, this is a mystique, man. You're going to Green Bay. You're going to Lambeau Field, playoff time. Listen, that place is hard to win because of the football gods that are there. Just more gods are going to show up in playoff time. Oh, my God, you just never know. But Seattle, I'm going to tell you right now, I thought Seattle would win. I really did. But at the same time, when I was looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, when they lost Carson Wentz on that first drive, I knew the Seattle Seahawks would win. It's because of the experience. Now, everybody's been talking about the experience of Russell Wilson for the Seattle Seahawks. Listen, I'm not gonna take the experience away from him. But if you honestly think that there is no experience on the other side, listen, Russell Wilson only has 1 ring, okay? And the guy on the other side of the field has 1 as well. So the experience is there. In reality, the more experience in reality is Aaron Rodgers, but yet they're throwing the experience and everything up. And, I cannot believe how many people are betting against the Green Bay Packers at home. And I know they're not the same Green Bay Packers, but my gosh, guys, you're talking about a football team this year. When you looked at the schedule, you were going, man, maybe they'll be 3-13. No, they're 13-3. Okay, so you want to talk about a team that I think really completely overdid what they were expecting? That's the Green Bay Packers, because I didn't even have them in the playoffs this year. And look what they did, and they did it also with a rookie head coach.
Yeah, that guy is going to get probably good. Even though I think personally Doug Peterson should get Coach of the Year, but I think that truthfully it'll either be Shanahan or LaFleur. Okay, LaFleur. I mean, that's probably who's going to win it, the Coach of the Year. and it would be hard to argue that. It'd really be hard to argue any of them. But he has transposed that football team because for the first time, Sonny, in a number of years,
Yep.
similar now to Kansas City, similar situation. You don't need to score 35 and 40 points a game, and like Aaron Rodgers was running for his life in that Atlanta playoff loss, and he got burned down trying to match score for score because their defense was so awful in the playoff game. Okay, the fact of the matter is, this is the best Green Bay defense that I can recall in
Absolutely,
a number
yes.
of years, maybe even going back to when Reggie White was there. I'm serious because they really get after it. And the thing is, now they also have a stud running game, which they did not have for a few years. But now you got Aaron Jones. But I'm going to be honest.
That guy's a badass.
He is a badass. But let me be honest with you. I don't know. This game, Sonny, honestly, for 4 or 5 days, I have gone back and forth. And what I should look for is what takes priorities over this game. And this is one of those games that you could almost throw out what you really believe and go the other way. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything honestly points to Green Bay to win this game. But this is a hard one. I may have to listen to your analysis before I decide because I've gone back and forth with this. You don't even know how many times. But let me just say this. Green Bay is not that great as far as getting to the quarterback. However, they have a good turnover ratio. Okay, they're plus 12, which leads the league, which was tied with Seattle. Ironically, we're seeing the two best teams in the league in this game.
Yes,
as far as forcing turnovers. Okay, the thing that you have to analyze is, and I saw this in another blog also. Will they be able to contain Lockett and Metcalf, meaning the Packers? And if they do, that means that a tight end like Jacob Hollister would have to step up. He might be the key to this game. He's pretty good. If they limit these other players, if they limit those other two receivers, because we saw what kind of factor DJ Metcalf had.
Yes.
I would have seen more of an advantage for Green Bay in this game if it was snowing. But now we know the forecast. It's going to be cold, sure, but it's going to be equal for both teams. And I mean, as long as it's not snowing, I think that kind of levels off a little bit the home field advantage. But it's just a matter of what, wins out, obviously, to be truthful with you, over the other. Because Green Bay, honestly, there were games offensively this year, Sonny. And I remember the opening game of the season against Cuervo and the Bears. And the Bears, had 100,000 chances to win that game. They could never put a drive together. Green Bay did nothing either. And Green Bay's offense this year was very honestly, I think, really mediocre.
Yeah.
There were a lot of games studied that Green Bay seemed to shut it off at halftime. It's like an NBA team that's up 25 at the half, and they coast in the second half and let the other team get back in the game. And don't get me wrong, okay, Green Bay does enough to win the game. They're balanced. And Aaron Rodgers still had a super year. He only had 4 interceptions. That's the least in the league. He was his most accurate quarterback as anybody in the NFL. He only threw for 4 interceptions. You got a badass in Jones at 4.6 yards a rush. He rushed for over, 1,084 yards. He's one of the top runners in the league. But and Green Bay runs the ball well. Seattle, here's my problem, Sonny. This is the biggest issue I have. To me, this is the key to the whole game. Seattle has not used Robert Turbin. Okay. From my understanding, he was activated for the San Francisco game to end the regular season, right? And the playoff game last week. Basically, from my understanding, he's not carried the ball. He's been active, but he's only been on special teams. And very honestly, Seattle is really hurt with these top running backs out. And unless they get Turbin in the backfield to use his quickness, make some plays. Homer's a tough running back physically, but him and Marshawn Lynch are not going to scare the Packers. Marshawn Lynch hasn't done anything. Yeah, he had the 1 touchdown last week, but he's had minimal impact. He's averaging not even 2 yards a carry. Homer's not going to scare you. And they need the speed and the quickness in the backfield to break plays, or else what's going to happen is Green Bay is going to come out and go after Russell Wilson hard. And I just don't know. And that's why I'm probably leaning to Green Bay here, and I'd like to get your feeling on it. If Seattle had a better rushing attack with healthy running backs, okay, in these same kind of conditions, I would definitely go for Seattle. I just, Marshawn Lynch, you got to get Robert Turbin in the lineup, or you're screwed.
Well, I don't think that, you see, and that's the thing. I called this from the beginning. When they picked this game up, this guy picked this guy up. This is a red herring. They don't expect Marshawn Lynch to go in and be Marshawn Lynch from 5 years ago. And if they do, listen, they need to, if they just want to piss away money, my address is Wiley, Texas, and you can send that money my way. Okay, because I'll tell you, you want to talk about a waste of money. That's why I think it's a red herring. I don't think that, I mean, if they honestly think that Marshawn Lynch has anything that he used to have, they're nuts. That's why Turbin is so important. And I think that's the reason why. Now, I think they can use Marshawn Lynch in a blocking way. I think they can use him there because, listen, you got to get around Marshawn Lynch. You're not going to run through Marshawn Lynch. Okay, if anything, he's going to knock you down or at least get you off track. So he's going to be a blocking running back for these playoffs. And if they expect him to get 4 or 5 yards of carry, they're nuts. So if they're going to get that, they should get it from Turbin. But I don't think that's – here's the thing. It's real simple. You're talking about 2 quarterbacks, okay? When it comes to the end of the game, and if either team is in it, whoever's going to have the ball that's going to win this football game. Because you look at Aaron Rodgers and his history of what this guy does. This guy is a miracle maker. And not only that, in Green Bay, that is huge. But you look on the other side, this year, you want to talk about a guy that has carried an offense all year long? That is Russell Wilson. Because his offensive line has been depleted all year long. They're winning football games, and they played in the toughest division of football where you had the Rams, you also had San Francisco and them. And a team that has been decimated with injuries but still win football games. The last 5 weeks of the season, the Seattle Seahawks was excuse me, the Seattle Seahawks were depleted. And what has happened? They put that weight on the shoulders of Russell Wilson. And what does Green Bay do almost every game? Put the weight on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders. This game, it'll be very interesting. If the Seattle Seahawks defense can stop Aaron Rodgers, and I think they can. Yeah. I think this is the upset of the week. In reality, wow. But what Bob, if they win, now here's the thing on that though, that one week off, you want to talk about, I put this up a little bit earlier, but I'll put it back up. I mean, they're healthy for God's sake. Yeah. First of all, they're healthy, then they get a break. Oh my gosh, a well-rested Aaron Rodgers, I think in reality spells doom for the Seattle Seahawks. I really do. Yeah. If there's any team in the playoffs that needed a week off, it was the Green Bay Packers. And listen, we're still talking about a team that went 13-3. I mean, this guy knows how to win football games. And again, when I looked at it at the beginning of the year, and I'll ask you, did you have the Green Bay Packers winning the NFC North? No. Did you have Minnesota or Chicago?
I had Chicago. I had Chicago actually winning less games than last year, Sonny, but still having enough to win the division. I actually had Chicago winning maybe 10. I had Minnesota borderline wild card, and Green Bay, no. I had Green Bay, maybe I was looking at 8 or 9 victories. I will lie to you.
I was looking 7. Because of the fact, and then you also go to the fact of the lack of experience at the head coaching position. Listen, we got mad love for LaFleur. The guy played for the Omaha Beef, for God's sake. We got the mad love for this guy. But how does that transition of a coach from an indoor football league going to the NFL? First of all, I was shocked when they grabbed him up. I mean, I was out of my mind. I'm like, and again, I love the fact they get the opportunity, but I thought it was probably the worst hire of the year. I mean, really, I looked at this, it almost reminds me of Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys. A horrible hire. I mean, listen, I've listened to both sides of this. For the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy is not the best pickup here for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk about that after we're done with this game. But the hire and everybody was questionable about Todd. I think if I even remember, you were talking about, well, where's the experience? What is he actually going to be able to bring? Yeah, he played in the NFL, I think, for 2 or 3 seasons, and coached in a different level. But you're talking about taking over a storied franchise with an inexperienced head coach. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world, but yet evidently Sonny was again. I was wrong, because this team went 13-3, and not only that, they won some close football games as well.
They sure did. And I mean, as I said, and it's all because mostly they won a lot of games even where their offense was not that great. Okay. Yep. And although they had a couple stickers, okay, they obviously, you have to remember, they got blown out at San Francisco. They went into Carson against the Chargers and got annihilated. But as I said, it happens. It only happened a couple times. I mean, everybody has a couple bad games. You come out on the West Coast, it's difficult for these cold weather teams sometimes. And but you're right, Cindy. The fact that the fact that the game is at home. I love some of Russell Wilson, okay? But just that the Green Bay defense to me right now is so good. And yeah, I would agree, because I didn't know if Rodgers would respect LaFleur. But LaFleur came right in when his first news conference said he wants the challenge. He's going to coach him up. He's going to, they're going to get on the same page. And I don't know. I mean, I've watched Rodgers this year, Sonny, and maybe because I'm very perceptive, I'm not certain he's been that happy as far as his personal season or the way his office is going. I've seen him look depressed more, shake his head, just really frustrated, because some games their offense just comes to a halt. I think personally he's probably not happy on a personal level with the system. He loves the big downfield throws and all the scoring, but what he has to like is better protection. Right. I just think that he's figuring, okay, I got to take a bullet for my personal stats for the betterment of the football team. And now that he has a defense, it might prolong his career. So, the thing is, I think Aaron loved the freedom he had before, and maybe he feels more confined, I guess, is what I'm saying, under this system. Maybe less automobilizing. I don't know. But, I think he was used to being a gunslinger. And I think that's what he misses. And he doesn't do that as much here. It's more controlled passing for him here. Yeah. It's just, I've noticed a change in their style of play. But in the long run, it's damn the stats. It's rings on your finger at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And now they've got a better shot at winning the ring because of it. And again, if Seattle had any kind of running game at all, I would go with Seattle. But I can't. I can't, because I don't trust Marshawn Lynch to do crap. Yeah. Sorry.
And that goes to, now getting back to that, what you were talking about as far as Aaron Rodgers now, has pretty much a total different offense. Like you said, this guy was, doing what he had to do. So it makes him a better football team, and the W's are coming. But if they have to do that at the end of the game, there's nobody better. Okay. So how this game goes, this will be about Aaron Rodgers and whether or not he'll stick with the system, or will Aaron Rodgers have to pull off what he has done so many times before, which is pull off that miracle win, which is what I think they have to happen. I think Seattle's going to be in this game. I think they're going to be into it at the end. And I think what's going to have to happen also is that Aaron Rodgers is going to have to make plays with his legs. Listen, right now, and there's, by the way, just let everybody know, there's 35 other quarterbacks in the NFL when I'm about ready to say this one. There's nobody better on the run with accuracy down the field than Aaron Rodgers. And if they get in that position and they have to do that, that doesn't spell – it doesn't vote very well for Seattle's defense, even though it's good. They might make him throw that ball a little bit earlier, but this guy will figure out a way to get the ball and deliver the ball where it has to be delivered. This Aaron Rodgers might be the definition of clutch.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. I mean, look what he did against the Bears last year. That broke Cuervo's heart. I mean, time and time again, in the games that this guy pulls out, you're right, Sonny. he just is a knack of pulling games out. Look at the Detroit game on Thanksgiving, I believe. No, I'm sorry, they didn't play. Chicago played Detroit on Thanksgiving, but Green Bay pulled out that game at the end of the season. And Aaron Rodgers, I've seen him also several times this year, Sonny, where they didn't really get anything really much going, and he got it going in the second half, and they were able to pull out victories. And he's still a great player. So I guess when he feels he's forced to make plays and he has to turn it on, he can still turn it on whenever he seems to want to. I just don't think he's as happy with this system for his sake, because it's more conservative a system and it's more controlled, in my opinion. And I've watched him, and he doesn't always look, raw. I think McCarthy basically gave a lot more freedom before, that he doesn't have quite the same freedom, and he has to stick more to the original play call that LaFleur calls in. But again, at the end of the day, it's is this the style that works for me as far as winning Super Bowls is concerned? I honestly thought that's why I thought New Orleans would win the NFC. A similar situation where New Orleans was not this, we got to score 41 because we know we're going to give up 38 because they actually had a defense, and then they chunked last week.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, I have gone back and forth with this game so many times, Sonny, but I'm going to go with Green Bay. But I mean, it's like I could flip a coin 5 times. Again, the difference to me is Seattle cannot run the ball. And that is, to me, going to be a big problem in this one. And plus, Green Bay does get after the quarterback quite effectively.
Yeah.
So, they have 41 sacks on the season. Preston Smith had 12 sacks to lead the defense. Harold Landry has 9 more from a line. Oh, my God. So, Russell will make plays, Sonny. But if they limit Lockett at all and Metcalf, I think they're in for a long day. And we have seen Seattle have some bad offensive games as well, such as in the LA Coliseum. That one rings a bell to me immediately right off the bat.
And you take a look at that, the banner. Wilson 0-3 as a starter at Lambeau with a passer rating of only 60 points, and that's Lambeau. I mean, those are the ghosts of Lambeau. I mean, because when you look at who Russell Wilson is, and then you see these numbers. As Wilson's completed just 55 of his 96 passes. That's 57%, only for 604 yards. And the key on that is 6 interceptions to only 3 touchdowns. I mean, so they're doubling up on the interceptions. But here's the thing. I'm looking at this game totally different. Probably more so than what it is, because I look at Lambeau Field and I look at what is there in Lambeau. Listen, Lambeau is it's all. Listen, before I die, I got to get the Lambeau, and all I got to do is hop a plane. I could get there. I got to get the Lambeau because there's something about this place that tears up. But here's what. Just lost myself. There we go. I'm back. And again, weather out there, so watch it there. The thing I think that we need to watch for, and I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see Russell Wilson try to do his best imitation of Lamar Jackson. And the reason why is because they're not going to be able to stop it. And if Russell Wilson decides to start running the football when he can't put it in there, I don't think they're going to be ready for it. I really don't. I think and I'm going to tell you right now, that'll be the key to the game. I'm picking Green Bay because it's the right pick. It's the right. But if the Seattle Seahawks win, it will be because Russell Wilson is doing his best imitation of Lamar Jackson. Because of the fact is that they're not ready for that. They're not ready for Lamar Jackson going in there. They're ready for the Russell Wilson that will use his legs occasionally. I think we're going to see a lot of Russell Wilson using his legs. I think we're also going to see a lot of him not trying to thread the needle and throw a ball in tight places to try to complete the pass because of the defense that is there. Listen, they'll bait you. They'll bait you all day long. And listen, if I think they're going to bait him, Russell Wilson is not dumb. I mean, he's smarter than me. So he's got to be thinking there's going to be some kind of bait going on out there for him to throw a football. Well, guess what? If he don't fall for the bait and he uses his legs, he's got the opportunity to gain 7 or 8 yards on a run. Maybe he can complete the pass for 15 or 16 yards. But if all they need is a first down, I think we're going to see Russell Wilson run the football more than he ever had because of the fact that they had to play that game last week against Philadelphia.
Yeah, they may have to do something off the cuff that's not expected, Sonny, because again, if they take Lockett away, that could be the one area that could really hurt the Packers. And again, Sonny, as I said, this is a game that honestly, and I'm not being coy when I say this, I mean, it could go either way. Right. I could call this, you could simulate this 10 games on a video game, and I mean, you could have a different winner 10 times. It's going to be awful close. I don't expect this to be around. I just think that the running game is too much. I think Aaron Jones is going to be able to run on the Seattle defense. Okay, enough. And Seattle's not going to run. And that really, it comes down to me, it's very simple. Other than that, it's pretty much a wash.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned. Both quarterbacks are great. I mean, Russell Wilson, 31 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions on the season.
It's nuts.
It is nuts. It is nuts with really a crappy offensive line.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a crappy offensive line setting, you know, you cover games in high school and you watch Red Zone every week. You know, if you have a crappy offensive line, you'll throw 15 interceptions a season just because you have a crappy offensive line. This guy threw 5 interceptions.
Yep.
You know, so, and Russell's durable too. But I just think Green Bay is better balanced to win this. And if this was in Seattle, I would probably pick Seattle. But
and by the way, just to let you know, I don't know if you got this is, unless the forecast I got is a little bit different. It might be a couple days old, but Saturday night is supposed to bring gusty winds and 10 inches of snow in that game. And believe me, that's Packers. That's advantage Packers. They practice out in that garbage, man. So, you know, and now it's not to say it doesn't get cold in Seattle. Listen, dude, it gets cold in Seattle.
Yeah, but Sonny, cold there, even in its coldest, is in the 30s. It does not get into the 20s in Seattle. Trust me, I know weather. I'm a weather buff. It gets to the 30s. But it's not with the wind. It's not with the 25 degrees. And it rarely snows in the city of Seattle. Occasionally, and rarely.
Yep.
It's not anything comparable to Green Bay weather. And it's going to be 25 degrees.
Yep.
It's still going to be cold as hell.
It's going to be real cold. And not only that, the Packers have put out a notice. They're seeking 700 people to shovel the snow during the game. So, God, it's just yet another advantage Packers in that football game.
Psychologically.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't, if you don't play in that, I mean, if you play in that game, you play in the game, and that's what you're used to, you know, that's all for you. That's all set. And again, it is Lambeau Field. It is there. And so we got our picks in for this one. But what we're going to do is we're going to take another quick break because we got to come back. We got to talk about the hires of the Dallas Cowboys. I wanted to get the take from, and I don't know how long your computer will last, but we're going to take a quick break here. And if I lose them, I lose them. But if not, we're going to come back here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll check this one out. We'll be back after this.
Ever want to know why Bill and I look so good on our broadcast? Check out K West Designs on Facebook. You can take a look at our pictures and see the quality of the work that comes from K West Designs, especially if you have a special occasion. Just get on Facebook, look up K West Designs right in the search bar, contact them directly for questions or anything that you may have regarding your personal design.
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. Come visit us today at 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com.
Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com. Go custom. Get happy. Tell us what you love. We're your local neighborhood window covering experts who truly understand your needs, so we deliver the perfect solution for your home. So check out Budget Blinds of Rowlett, serving Rowlett, Wiley, Saxe, and Garland. Give them a call at 972-722-9300. Budget Blinds of Rowlett, where we listen to our customers' needs.
Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607 or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. All right, we are back here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark. Cuervo will be back with us next week. So I went ahead and invited the guy that was with us last week, Todd Mintz. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, they go ahead, they get their guy. Couple interesting things about this hire, but I'm not very hopped up on it. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, I don't think you can be hopped up about it as well. There's a lot. That is, when I look at this, I posted it on my page. They might as well just kept Jason Garrett. The hiring is like big news down here. I just speaking of the Green Bay Packers and the whole situation there, we're talking about a guy that couldn't get along with the best quarterback in the NFL. Your meal ticket, can't get along with him. You end up at the end of the year with a bad record, after the year before that being halfway decent and making the playoffs, and then you follow it up with crap. There's a lot of things that these are bad things. Now, listen, I've already had people say, Sonny, you're just looking for to call this a bad hire. I'm sitting here saying, you are the Dallas freaking Cowboys. What are you doing? Let's go get a name. Let's go get someone you can get excited about. Mike McCarthy? Mike McCarthy, listen, hey, can we talk? I mean, can you want to talk about a guy that is not innovative whatsoever? Mike McCarthy is not that guy. He couldn't win with the best damn quarterback in the NFL. I'm just missing this whole.
Sonny, let me ask you a question. And maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but he's got to be responsible also for a lot of Aaron's failures the last few years.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you why. I listened to you religiously probably for 2 to 3 years with Cuervo, and you guys talked about this over and over and over again, where you had mentioned that he is left to hang, that Aaron Rodgers was left to hang because he had the garbage offensive line running for his life. You guys talked about this every single week on this show. And, the thing is, Mike McCarthy is as responsible for this as anyone. What? He calls the plays. He runs the show. Does he not have any input into what they draft and how they draft? Excuse me. This is a guy, I get emotional about this because this leads me to a question, Sonny. And maybe I'm wrong here, but do you give a lifetime pass to anybody that has won a Super Bowl, or to you, is that irrelevant? Because even Brian Belichick.
No, I don't give him a pass because in that case, Eli Manning gets a pass and he sucks.
Okay.
Listen. Sometimes you gotta have the defense bail you out, but no, you're absolutely the lifetime. Okay. Yeah, it would be Tom Brady. I mean, let's say he sucks for the rest of his career. No one's going to question 9 Super Bowls and 6 of them on a ring finger. He's got one for everybody who questioned him. I mean, really, you think about it. But no, not really. I don't give anybody that lifetime pass per se. Even to this extent, everybody talked about how great Joe Montana is. By the way, he was.
Yes.
Just so everybody knows,
he was
4 Super Bowl visits, 4 rings. Okay, so you can't argue with that success. Okay, but then you take him over to Kansas City, and I'm sorry, I watched it. Kansas City fan. I watched it.
Yep.
And I wasn't impressed. So I don't even give Joe Montana a walk. So there's only so many few that you can give that to, I think.
Well, the one exception to that was when he went into Denver and beat John Elway on a Monday night game. Remember that one?
Yes.
35-31.
Yeah.
I won't forget that.
Well, you won't forget it because you were watching attentively, being the Denver Bronco fan that you are.
That's right.
Which, by the way, I think I need to get my head examined. So Mike McCarthy.
No, Sonny, listen, Sonny. Mike McCarthy is drabber. His drab head coach. He's nothing that sexually. Okay, wrong word. It's not a sex appealing hire, or I guess the word I'm looking for is it's not a sexy hire.
It's not a sexy pick at all.
It's garbage.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It is when you wake up in the morning and you're all set for a great breakfast, and you get these eggs
fired up.
You're ready to go, and you crack the egg and you do it and you serve it and realize, damn, I forgot the salt. Because really, an egg without salt is not good, or pepper. Right. What you got is you got a plain egg, and the yolk is Jerry Jones. Okay, and listen, you don't break the yolk. You try not to. Okay, so Jerry Jones is still in control there. Jerry Jones got the guy he wanted because he was a yes man, and he knows he's going to be able to get what he wants because of his influence on what he is for the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, the guy's a marketing genius. You'll never be able to convince me any different. But as far as a football guy, he is not it, because they would have fired him a long time ago if he had another GM that ended up with the record that he did. Okay, he just owns the team. He ain't gonna fire himself. So that's what. Now, whether or not he turn it over to someone to do it, so be it. But as long as he is in control there, he's going to get his guy. And listen, the guy is not going to be the guy I would think is the only qualified guy that can walk in there and demand respect, demand the ball, and that's Bill Cowher. And Bill Cowher ain't coming out. He's done. Listen, he makes millions of dollars sitting on the CBS the thing. So he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
He might have 2 years ago if they could have done that, and the Dallas Cowboys make that change. But they get Mike McCarthy. So you also gotta look at this. Where is the discipline on there? Yeah, my brother Mike McCarthy's got nude pictures of Jerry Jones' wife. Maybe, I don't know. But this is you are the Dallas Cowboys. You are the biggest NFL football team as far as money is concerned, as far as marketing is concerned. You are the Dallas freaking Cowboys. You got
TV ratings.
You have 6 championships. Now, granted, you haven't gotten recently, but you still have 6. And you hire the Bill Parcells. You find the Jimmy Johnson. You find now Urban Meyer. I don't know. I have never been impressed with Urban Meyer. I've been impressed with him as a head coach for the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's it. But take out, it was Ohio State, right? I think I'm almost sure.
Yes, Ohio State, and before that, Utah. And Florida.
Yeah. And so as far as
he had Alex Smith, he made Alex Smith a pretty darn good college quarterback. They were in a Big 5 bowl game at that time, if I remember. Yeah.
But the hire is, in my opinion, is not, and you do. I mean, it's like going to an amusement park and they don't have the big roller coaster. That's what this is. I mean, this is nothing. It's the junior roller coaster with Jerry steering the damn wheel, and that's it. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. There's 36 owners in this league. Only one of them has a post game press conference every week, and the guy during the season has 2 days where he's on air on the radio. Okay, so why would Mike McCarthy even have to do a press conference? Just let Jerry handle it. That's the problem. And until he doesn't want to hear his own voice, the Dallas Cowboys this is a mediocre pick for a franchise that is a superstar franchise.
I don't disagree at all.
It's like getting Phyllis Diller. Okay, and have her play in a movie, a blockbuster movie.
Like a role that Meryl Streep would do when you ask Phyllis Diller.
Exactly. I mean, geez. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You're the Dallas Cowboys. You got to do better, and that's another thing. You got to do better, and there's a reason why you got to do better. Has nothing to do with Jerry Jones. You got the Dallas Cowboy fans that think that the Dallas Cowboys are God's gift to football. Okay, right. And the fans are insane down here, and I mean it. They're nuts. There's something wrong with Dallas Cowboys fans. They're nuts. They're crazy.
Yeah, you got to appease 80 to 90,000 people a week, not including corporate, the box holders,
all that,
whining and dying, kissing people's babies, everything that they have to do in Dallas, and you get this guy who's really like vanilla. He's as vanilla as they come, Sonny.
Pedestrian. He's very pedestrian. Okay, he's got a Super Bowl ring. Hey, congratulations! But you did have Aaron Rodgers, so come on. Let's be. And then you couldn't get along with him after you won a freaking Super Bowl. See, there's just parts of this signing that doesn't make me feel good if I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Now, granted. Now, what's great for me as we do radio, I just got 16 weeks of bashing all set up for next year.
Oh, yeah, you're ready. You're getting ready.
This is not the right hire. Not 1 second. By the way, this just came across my screen. It came out 4 hours ago. The Kansas City Chiefs, okay, just to let you know, defensive tackle Chris Jones and tight end Travis Kelce for the championship, they are questionable. But again, like you said, questionable means they're playing. They're a little bit banged up there, so look out for that. That's something that just came across my screen here just a couple of minutes ago. Minnesota, Adam Thielen right now needs stitches to close on a cut on his ankle on Wednesday. So he is questionable. If they can't get that thing to close or keep it shut, we might not see him. That is not good because Thean is not he is not anything to write home to mama about, but he is somebody.
Especially in the red zone.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you're dealing with there. So, some other NFL news that is going on out there. Just to let you know, Titans linebacker Jaylen Brown is going to miss the game. That's one thing I missed against Baltimore. Not that it matters, but he injured his shoulder, so he's ruled out. But the Raiders, listen, the Raiders are doing it right. Okay, they signed their offensive lineman, Denzel Good, to a one-year contract extension on Thursday, which is good. Their offensive line is the thing that they're going to have to protect a quarterback. Is Derek Carr the quarterback for the Raiders next year there, Todd?
I'm going to lean to no. I mean, because, again, you got to understand something. They're moving to Vegas.
Yep.
You got to sell. I mean, yes, they'll get the.
Who are they going to get, though? That's a great point. But as Cuervo always says to crazy conspiracy couch theories, who else are they going to get? I mean, what kind of they'd have to make a splash.
Cam Newton, maybe.
Who would be that splash?
Well, it's going to be some name. I mean, it could be Cam Newton. You don't know. We don't know. I mean,
listen, Cam Newton will sell some tickets. I don't like him, but he'll sell tickets. And I'll tell you right now, that would be an exciting, that would be a sexy move. That would be an atypical Raider move.
I'm going to tell you something though. In that town, because they've tried professional sports there before, but it's a lot different now because the population is so high there now, and now the families that you can raise and grow a family there, even though it's a gambling town, that there's enough communities and enough things to do that you don't have to be as part of the gambling mecca. But just look how the Las Vegas Golden Knights had marketed and the success they had immediately. But still, it's Vegas. You have to sell. And to me, it's a new identity. You know Gruden's the guy. Chucky's going to be there.
Chucky's going to be there.
The poster boy for going out and making public appearances. Why do you dine with the civic leaders of Las Vegas? You'll see him on TV all the time. But one thing, what is the most important position? The quarterback position. And if you got to sell a new town of winning games and be dynamic, you're going to change quarterbacks. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Yep.
And Derek Carr has not really done anything the last couple of years.
And interestingly enough, again, it's the sexy pick. All right, so the question I have for you now is coming from a little bit earlier, and the guy that keeps track of the San Diego Superchargers. Okay, LA. Phillip Rivers.
Oh, God.
All right, where do y'all see Phillip Rivers going next season? I think he stays there. Unless San Diego decides that they're going to part ways with him. But at the same time, I don't think it's the right move for Phillip Rivers because that guy has been in that franchise ever since if you don't know the history on this whole thing, you got to go back to Eli Manning.
Yeah.
And, Eli Manning was actually drafted by the San Diego Superchargers. Okay. That sent him over to the Giants. So and then you got Phillip Rivers coming in. So,
yeah.
I mean, this guy
Phillip Rivers replaced Drew Brees.
Yep. And exactly. So that whole thing, when Eli Manning went there, they kept Drew Brees for 2 more years, and Phillip Rivers came in directly behind it, and he's been there ever since Drew Brees has left. That having been said, we were talking about this as far as last week, or maybe it was the week before, but you're talking about a guy who's in Rude. How many kids does he have?
7.
7 kids.
Yeah, they have one that's now less than 2 years old, the youngest. They have 7 now.
Yeah, listen, this guy ain't going nowhere. Okay, he's not moving. Exactly. He's not moving. So he either plays for the San Diego Chargers or he gets an apartment. I mean, a 6-month apartment because those kids aren't going nowhere.
The only thing, Sonny, that he would probably leave for if it was somewhere close to where his family is, and
Oakland.
Though he's from Tennessee originally, he went to North Carolina State. I mean, sure,
that's cross-country. Wow, that's a long time away from the family. But then again, the guy can afford an airline ticket, so I guess you don't have to worry about that.
Well, that would leave either the Tennessee Titans or the Carolina Panthers if you want to be close to family. I guess we can't rule it out. I don't see it though. I I don't see it. I mean, he's commuting every day, an hour and a half to 2 hours and back and forth every day to practice from San Diego to Costa Mesa, Orange County, their training ground. Okay, I mean, his family's in San Diego, Sonny. I don't think Philip has got this passion. He loves the money. He loves the convenience. He loves being comfy.
Yep.
He's not going to want at this stage of his life to change football teams when he is going to be next season 38 years of age. This coming next season, he'll be 38.
Yep.
He's up. He's getting up there.
He is.
And, 7 kids. That's too much.
And he is not Tom Brady.
Oh God, no.
So
not in his dreams.
Yeah, definitely. It's not what it is. It's more thank Andrew Luck. This just came out this past week. I thought it was a very interesting story. Andrew Luck's dad says he didn't notice a desire from Luck to play. That's interesting to me. Obviously, the guy that's going to be looking out for him is going to be his dad. Listen, this is not the 70s and 80s where parents didn't give a rip and they didn't pay attention to their kids. We're in a different day and age, where they actually, watch their kids. They look out for what's best for them. And this new generation of football player that is going on, they have family involved with everything that they do. So Andrew Luck's father says he didn't notice a desire from Luck to play. Wow. That's a statement, because if there's anybody that knows Andrew Luck, the guy who knows him the best is the old man.
Luck, yeah.
The old man. The old man knows it. So, interestingly enough, I just thought that was an interesting thing that came out. As far as that is concerned, that is huge. So,
well, Sonny, here's my comment on that. Okay, and I can honestly see why the fans really got bitter at him when he announced. Because, Sonny, the thing is, come on, Sonny, I don't mind that he retires and he's worried about injuries and he's worried about his family and has a young wife and whatever, and he wants a family and he doesn't want to get hurt. I get all that. But, Sonny, what I have a problem with is he had the whole off season to be decisive. Why did he need to even play the damn preseason games and then just suddenly announce he left that football team in a lurch at that point, man?
It was the worst football move I've ever seen. I mean, a week before the freaking season, you drop the ball on him. Now, this would be different if this guy got hurt in a football game. I mean, how many times do we see main guys get hurt in a meaningless preseason game? That's not what happened here. No. And I think if this guy had this in his mind, he should have made that known a long time before that. And listen, I get it and I understand it. Yeah. In fact, I don't blame him. But what I blame him on is the fact that he did his team bad. Listen, it's one thing to look out for yourself, but you have 62 other football players that you got to deal with, and you're walking in the week before and you just drop this ball in the lap of Jacoby Brissett, who obviously hadn't been proven whatsoever to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. They were forced into that. They couldn't make a move fast enough to grab anybody enough to do that. So they had to keep this guy. And I listen, I'll put it out there. Andrew Luck, if this was on his mind, if this was sprung on him, there's still questions on that whole thing, is if he did it or how he was talking about it to lead up to it. He wasn't precise enough to where they were thinking, God, we better do something about this, compared to it being dropped in the lap of the ownership of the Indianapolis Colts. And what the hell, that move still leaves a bad taste in my mouth as far as team is concerned. What he did for himself is wonderful. I think it's fantastic, but he still has 62 other football players on a football team that was depending on him to be there for those games. I think it was a bad move.
I do too, Sonny. And the thing is, Andrew's not a dumb guy.
No, he's not.
He's a Stanford-educated person. Not only that, forgetting that for a minute, he's just the way he speaks. He speaks with not a lot of slugger athletes, words or a lot of jive. He speaks perfect English with an intelligence. So he's an intelligent man. And come on, he had months, Sonny. He had what, 7-8 months after the last game he played last season.
Yep.
He pulls this stunt a week before the season and puts Brissett in that position.
Yep.
And you're right, it's all the players. No wonder the fans were angry. I'd be angry too, because that's a sudden switch. You got to use the whole training camp, from mini camps all the way to the preseason, to get used to have the chemistry of playing with another quarterback and knowing your franchise player is not going to be there anymore. That's like something when Jerry West announced his retirement from the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm running out of battery. I got to replug it up. But anyway, go on. I'm listening.
Well, we're almost done. I mean, we got through the game, but there was one more thing I wanted to talk about, and it was back to Mike McCarthy. It was about the Dez catch, and he says it was a catch. I got video proof it wasn't. So I feel really good about that. I mean, it's very clear. I mean, based upon the rules of what the game was, okay? And I'll post that after we go off, and you'll see he had no control of the ball when he landed on the ground. And that was the rule at the time. Now, they may have changed. They have changed it. That play, the Calvin Johnson play where he gets into the end zone, the ball hits the ground as he's going over, and they didn't complete it. They changed all the rules after that, okay? But according to the rules at the time, that wasn't a catch. And I'll put the picture up. It'll be in my background. That'll be there. But Mike McCarthy says it was a great catch, and he can laugh about it now. He says that he caught it. Oh, boy, I got news for you. Mike McCarthy knows that he didn't even catch that football.
Full of hot air.
Hey, oh man, talk about an ass kiss. It just leads right into what it's all about. I mean, making Jerry Jones. I mean, God, what a just a horrible hire.
I agree.
I just can't get over it. And it does. It goes back to the fact that his meal ticket, he can't get along with his meal ticket.
Here's the thing, Sonny. Here's the thing. He makes Jason Garrett look like to be Mr. Don Rickles, Mr. Warmth.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean,
hockey puck.
Seriously, Jason Garrett's got more personality in one finger than Mike McCarthy has in his whole body. I don't even see that guy even get excited, dude. Yeah. I don't even see Mike McCarthy get excited. He's
Yeah, and just let you know, the national media love this pick. And not only that, they're bringing. Listen, and this is the first time I ever heard that. The first time I've ever heard this about a head coach. Oh, he's bringing analytics, and that's the reason why they got it. They got Jerry Jones as an owner. The analytics are in Jerry Jones's head. And believe me, they're not real. They're not real analytics. They're not real points that you can point to. They're Jerry Jones, after he drank too much at the bar the night before, I think I'll go for a flea flicker from my own 1 yard line kind of crap. That's what but it is what it is. But hey, it's all set. But
oh my God.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. God, we covered a lot of crap here tonight. Holy cow. I mean, geez Louise, we covered a lot of stuff here.
All right, hey, Sonny, before you go, I hope you don't mind I do this, but I got to give you a plug, all right? Got to give everybody a reminder. Our Raleigh Eagles actually are 1-0 in district. They had a game tonight that was canceled because of the rain. It's being rescheduled tomorrow, but we're 1-0 in district. We beat Wiley the other night, so we're off to a good start. So, Sonny, you're going to be starting to call the games, hopefully. I think they're playing next Tuesday. So we're now in district. So good luck to the Eagles tomorrow in the makeup game against the Garland Owls.
Yeah, the Garland Owls, that they because of this rain, there's one thing that Texas does is they protect. It's about family, and they protect their kids. They protect everything, and it's. But that having been said, just to let everybody know, that the schedule for that, again, the Garland Owls canceled tonight. They're going to make that game up tomorrow, which we're not going to be able to call it. I have an engagement already for that time. But we're going to kick it back, and we're going to go and we are going to call the next game, which is Tuesday. It's at Saxe, right? Actually, just right down the street from where I'm at. Yep, and that is the rivalry game that happens on the 17th. Ugh, I got noise going on. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Wow, nice music. And then they got the Naaman Forest Rangers on the 21st, and then Wiley at Wiley on the 31st of January. So that's the quick schedule as they move on. So you heard that music?
A little bit, faintly.
Oh, okay. Well, I might try something then. Since you heard the music, maybe I got some other stuff. But that's going to do it for us tonight. Unless there's anything else you wanted to cover.
No, I'm looking forward to the games this weekend, Sonny. I think they're going to be very, very interesting. I'm really anxious to see if our vision of Minnesota winning tomorrow is going to come true. That's going to be probably, to me, the most interesting game of the week. I already want to see how San Francisco reacts to being in the playoffs. And
listen, if they win that game and they win it decisively, it's going to be hard to beat the 49ers on the NFC side. You know that it's going to be a tough one because Garoppolo's got the ability. I mean, obviously, San Francisco paid this guy a lot of money and didn't get their money's worth the first year, so they're getting what they expected. Let's be honest. They wanted the playoffs. They got the playoffs. Not only that, the first round bye. I mean, San Francisco, the storied franchise that it is, this is exactly what I think they wanted. This is what let's be honest. It's the thing that it brings franchises together. It makes it, and this could be a start of a good run. And I like.
They're gonna be around a long time. So
yeah, I want to see him go back to the glory days. When they were good. You remember Mouse Davis with the run and shoot, bringing that into San Francisco. Back in the day, he invented the run and shoot right there. So Walsh and company just took that over, and that's where, in reality, Mouse Davis made Jerry Rice's career because of the run and shoot, which in turn put them in a pretty good position, put Jerry Rice as the best wide receiver ever. But Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders was named the number one. So you remember how they did that top 100 and everything? But the final one, they put Barry Sanders as number one of the top 100.
You know what, Sonny? I agree with that.
Wow, even with them a lack of years at the running back position, they named the number.
He was like Gale Sayers. Okay, he was a special talent.
Gale Sayers was my number one, just to let you know. If I had picked it was Gale Sayers, just to let everybody know. So, and I love some Walter Payton, but Gale Sayers. Listen, and by the way, I didn't see all that live. I went back. You just go back. Hey, you go to YouTube, put Gale Sayers in. Okay, you want to see a thing of beauty. You just watch Gale Sayers run the football. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he was tall and he just glided. He was just light on his feet. He was like a damn deer.
Unbelievable. So
I just want to say this really quick. The reason I would say Barry Sanders, Sonny, is the numbers he put up. And the thing is, Barry took chances. You know how many times that he would have to circle defenders, go backwards, run 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, go around the other way. I mean, this guy.
He ran 50 yards to get 6. I mean, that's a lot of times. So, and then he would break some of those great runs were stops after 2 or 3 yard gain. And like you said, he'd circle back and end up getting 70, run for a touchdown. It's ridiculous. It's crazy stuff, but yeah. So, that's going to do it for us. If we're on Sunday morning, great. We will be on Sunday morning. That will depend on how I feel. Just let everybody know I jacked my knees, so I've been in a lot of pain lately. So, and that was none of the reason why you didn't see me up on air this week, but I'm beginning to feel a little bit better. So maybe we're going to put the link up to where anybody can hop on video-wise if they want to get on. That was my idea from last week. I didn't have – my knee was hurting so bad I thought it would affect the show because I was not in the best of moods. So,
Yeah.
all right, so that's going to do it. Todd,
you.
thanks for joining us
Thank you,
here on the
guys.
Sports Show. We'll catch up and bring you on some of the other ones. Who knows? Maybe
All right.
you'll have your show right here. So, thanks for joining us, my friend.
Thank you, Sonny. Have a
got
good
it.
weekend.
And
All
that's gonna do it for us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Joining us here, hopefully on Sunday. I have a feeling we will be on Sunday, just because that's just me. And I'm feeling better, so I probably will do it. So thanks for joining us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll see you Sunday morning.